네, 안녕하십니까. 뷰티 트렌드 인사이트 2부와 3부
Hello. We will now begin
시작하겠습니다.
part 2 and part 3 of Beauty Trend Insight. My name is Kang Ji-hae. I'm an announcer.
네,
I will be the
감사합니다.
MC for this
글로벌
event. Thank you
뷰티
very
산업의
much. It's a
허브,
nice
서울의
meet you.
원년을
So, 2022 Seoul Beauty Month is a kickoff event for the global beauty industry hub Seoul. And the first event for the Seoul Beauty Month is the 2022 Seoul Beauty Week, which kicked off yesterday.
올해 처음 열리는
And
축제다
this festival is the first of its kind, and therefore it will become a driver to enhance growth in the beauty industry. We hope that Seoul will go beyond Asia to lead the growth of cosmetics industry in the world. Now, we will take time to have leading companies in this industry to share their know-hows and insights together with beauty startups and hidden champions. We saw a lot of enthusiasm in part 1 yesterday, and I also see the same level of enthusiasm today. I even see some people standing to listen to the conference. Now, digital marketing is a topic of part 2, and we will be able to hear about digital branding and marketing cases of global beauty brands. And third, part 3, the theme is eco and ESG beauty, and we will be able to see cases of brands that are responding to eco-friendliness and ESG trends. These people are those who are actually working in the cosmetics field, so they will be able to give you the most up-to-date information. And they will also give you insights into seeking for solutions related to future issues.
We will now hear from the first speaker. We will hear from the Marketing and E-commerce Director of La Roche Posay from the L'Oréal Group, who will talk about the brand strategies and successful digital marketing of La Roche Posay. Please give her a big hand. Hello everyone. Hello everyone. As introduced, I am in charge of the brand strategies and marketing at La Roche Posay. It's a pleasure to meet you all. My name is EunGyung. Before I dive in the presentation, I would like to show you a brand video, and then I will continue on with my presentation. Please turn your attention to the screen. As you saw from the brand video, La Roche Posay is a global brand recommended by over 90,000 dermatologists globally, and the brand is recommended by more than 400 dermatologists in Korea. As La Roche Posay can be found in drugstores, it is science-based, and we do our best to produce and manufacture safe products and very effective products. I will be focusing on the digital marketing, so I will focus on e-commerce channels. This is from Statistics Office of Korea. If you look at the green line, you can see the overall growth, and at the bottom, the blue shade shows you the growth of the consumer base. Well, La Roche-Posay is sold in drugstores and clinics. So as you can see here, in 2015, the brand was launched on our official online store. And then, well, in 2015, it was only sold on the official website. But because of COVID-19 in 2020, COVID changed everything and the consumption trends as well as patterns changed as well. So we started to enter and expand into new channels such as Naver, Coupang, Kakao, SSG, and Curly on top of our exclusive store. Now, this is also from Korea statistics data. You can see the total online beauty market and the transactions on the online channels. In 2022, the projection is negative 8.4. However, if you look at the bar chart, well, the transaction, we will lose some of the transaction in the duty-free. However, in the local market, the transaction is likely to go up 10.6%. So that shows that even after COVID-19, people are buying more in online stores. And I'd also like to talk about the chart on the right. It's shown in the year-on-year growth by channel type. The transactions vary by platform. We talk a lot about online platforms and e-commerce being the best platforms these days. However, you can see that the customer base varies depending on the channel. Now I will break down by channel. If you look at Naver, well, you're all familiar with Naver. Naver is a search engine. So here, 24 to 39 aged people are the main consumer demographics. However, consumers in their 40s are also some of the consumers that largely purchase on the channel. And this means that there is a strong need for various types of products. So rather than focusing on a single hero product, it is important to expose a wide range of trendy and seasonal products. In the case of Coupang, most purchases are led by moms in their 20s and 30s, and they buy most of the hero products. So hero products are the ones that drive sales. This suggests that you need to buy and focus on the hero products near the top of the search engine or heavily invest in the main search keywords. Now moving on to Kakao. Kakao is well known for its gifting channel, but it's also a powerful live commerce platform, and it provides a great platform for the newcomers to jump in and promote as well as sell their products. So we need to maintain that channel. At the same time, for SSG, it's a department store channel, meaning that the age group is relatively high. And well, skincare sets and serum, as well as high functional products are some of the products that can largely drive the sales. Now I will talk more about the specific cases. So I talked about our official online store, and I would like to talk about the campaigns that we carried out and how it succeeded and what we did well to succeed. Now, as for our official store, it is our asset. So after the kickoff in 2015, for 5 years, we did not run other channels. So we nurtured and really fostered the growth of our official store for the first 5 years. However, from the customer's point of view, instead of going to the official mall, Coupang and Naver, as well as other channels, are more accessible from the consumer's perspective. So we had to promote the reason, we had to create the reason for the consumers to come into our official mall. As you can see here, we sell products that are exclusive to clinics and hospitals. And with UI and UX that are very consumer driven, we were able to promote the products well and curate the products well for the consumers to see. We made it very intuitive and very user friendly for the consumers. So when they visit our website, they can check up their skin, and then they can find out and identify their problems. They can test their skins, and then they can receive samples. So those are some of the services that we provide. And now next is Derm Live, and the dermatologists and the doctors will engage in live sessions with the customers, and they will talk about some of the beauty issues that you're having, some of the skin troubles that you're having. So they do have some beauty sessions. And you can also ask questions and receive answers. So that is a very differentiated service that we provide on Derm Live. So these are some of the strategies that we undertook to maintain the customers and to turn them into loyal customers. Now moving on to Naver. Naver is not just an e-commerce platform, as I said, but it's also a search engine, which means that we should not focus on a single hero product or one bestseller. You need to really offer seasonal products and popular products of that season. I will now show you a campaign that we ran on Naver, and then I will continue on with my explanation. As you saw from the video, we, together with other eco-friendly organizations, we ran some campaigns. And it may look like it's an ad, however, it was a short-form video, and it was executed on the commerce platform of Naver. So while people saw the videos, they could actually buy and purchase the products here. And we did not talk about markdowns of the products. We did not talk about the sales of the product. However, it still led to sales, and that was quite impressive. So I just wanted to point that out. And Naver not only provides a e-commerce, but also it has a Happy Bean fundraising page. And consumers were encouraged to participate in a campaign for tree planting, which was promoted on Naver's Happy Bean fundraising page. And it was a good campaign that increased brand engagement, and it was a great opportunity to encourage consumers to also purchase products here. I will talk more about the live content. I'm sure that you know about the live commerce content on Naver. So you have the show host here who talks about the benefits of the product and also talks about the overall product. But what they offer in Naver, they not only allow us to upload some short-form videos, but if you go there, you will be able to see a lot of videos from influencers as well as other show hosts. You can also create some ads. And this is the live commerce video that we actually executed on this platform. And we edited the video to a short form video. And this is what we did at Roche Posay. And we were able to create added value with this content, and it drove sales, and it really boosted brand awareness from the consumers. And I'm sure you know about this, but I'd like to briefly talk about the relationship between the number of views and sales. So as you can see here, the numbers are here. So the lively reuse edited, the views was about 3,500, but the sales was huge. And most of the time, many people think that the number of live views is directly related to sales. And we actually conducted a test. La Roche-Posay ran ads during the same main live shows in January and August to boost traffic. And when compared to the January show, during which we ran ads targeting all age groups, the September event, which targeted the 30s and 40s, saw the sales figure more than double. So the strategy was a little bit different. In August, as you can see here, you see huge traffic in the 30s and 40s, and we localized the target, and we were able to reach our target customers. So less traffic, but more sales was the result. So I talked about many strategies in a short duration of time. I will now give you a summary. If you run a e-commerce channel for your brand, you need to be strategic. You need to have an official online store and have a differentiated strategy for that store. Because the official online store not only drives sales for the brand, but it can create many touch points with the consumers. So it's a great opportunity, a channel to communicate with the consumers. And you need to be able to induce more loyal consumers to your online store. And for other channels, you also need to nurture such channels, but you need to understand the platform well in advance. Who uses this platform and when do they access this platform and why? You need to understand those reasons, and you need the right resources and the right strategies to work on those channels, and that can only drive sales. Last but not least, now with marketing activities, you will create many content, and those content can be reused and re-exposed on various platforms. So by recycling and reusing such content, you can actually drive traffic, but also that can translate into actual customers. Thank you very much for your time. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to present about La Roche-Posay's case. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much for that presentation. You gave us some very detailed cases of your brand. Please give Ms. Shin another big round of applause. And well, I saw people who were shy clapping, but please show a lot of enthusiasm for the speakers, because the presentations are very useful and you will be able to learn much from the brand's experiences, and it will give you a great opportunity to think about what you can do with your own brands.
Now let's move on to the second presentation. This presentation will be given by Ms. Shin SUJIN, who's the Deputy General Manager at AK Plaza. And you do know that startups and businesses that are just starting out, it's very difficult for them to enter the traditional distribution channel, and she will share some of our know-hows. The topic of her presentation is know-hows for offline beauty startups, and she will share some specific cases. I'm sure a lot of you will be interested. So let's invite Ms. Shin SUJIN with a big round of applause. Hello. My name is Shin SUJIN. I'm a Deputy General Manager at AK Plaza. So the topic of this very conference and this very seminar is digital marketing and trends, and I'm not sure if I'm the right person to talk about this topic, but I'll do my best. So I'll briefly introduce myself. I've been working at department stores for over 20 years in terms of general merchandises, beauty, accessories, lifestyle, and so I basically covered all categories, and I am covering those categories even today. So what I want to tell you today is that we have many startup brands here in the booth. And it's very difficult for these brands to go into the offline distribution channel. So I want to share my know-how as to how you can more easily access these distribution channels and get closer to customers. So my presentation will be based on my personal experiences. It's my first time making a presentation in front of such a large crowd, so I prepared a memo or a script. Oh, I'm sorry, a little memo. And actually, I'm going to give you some quizzes later at the end of my presentation. If you get the answer right, I will give you some prizes. Now, let me talk about the order of my presentation. I'm going to talk about the trends that have continued since 2021 after COVID-19. So I brought some trends and keywords in the COVID era. And I will also like to talk about product strategies for the success of startups. And whenever I meet and consult with these brand startups, there are many things I felt that they could improve. So I want to tell you about that. And the third part of my presentation is about the necessity of offline operation and guide to getting your products into stores. So I'm going to talk about the routes or the path that you have to enter in order to get your products into stores. Now, I'm going to give you a review of the department store revenues in 2021. And you might think it's very strange that we're nearing 2023. So why am I talking about 2021? And actually, the revenue structure was rather unique in 2021. Starting from the early 2019 up until mid-2020, revenues were very poor. And in 2020, but that changes in 2021. There are 6 more stores that raise more than 1 trillion won in revenue, and they actually account for 45% of the total revenue. And all of these stores are actually luxurious brands. So what does this mean? So there is a consumption polarization. In 2019 and 2020, early 2020, due to COVID-19, people did not make consumptions. But after that, basically their desire to consume burst. And therefore, the revenue of these luxury brands enjoyed high growth, a 2-digit growth. But that was not the case for domestic brands. So if you look at 2021 overall, K-beauty, K-fashion, they did not enjoy good statistics, while imported luxury brands enjoyed high growth. They didn't even have enough products to sell. So Korean brands, even with low prices, their products will not sell, but that was exactly the opposite for luxury brands. So I think 2021 was a very difficult year for Korean brands. And like I said before, people basically unleash their desire to buy things right after 2021. So once again, they began to make consumptions for inner beauty and health. And and many sports-related items began to be sold in high volume as well. And the cosmetics trend after COVID is like this. So in department stores, many of them are direct contact. They are made in direct contact, but non-face-to-face contact sales have grown significantly. So people don't necessarily have to go visit department stores, but they can always use a telephone to buy what they want. And this related sales is increasing, and it will continue to do so in the future. Of course, not only online, but offline sales have also grew by 12%. So we have to focus on both online and offline.
제가 느끼기에는
So what I feel
온라인은
is
기존대로
that
가고
we
오프라인에서
do what we
고객들이
have
새로운 거를
done
뭔가
in online,
난 꼭
but
오프라인에서만
we
이거 살 수
provide
있어.
something
내가
new to
매장으로
people
나가서만
offline. So in
접할
other
수 있는
words,
온라인
we
서비스를
should
고객이 느껴야
provide,
되는
for example, services
그런 걸
that can
만들기
only
위해서
be
지금 걔네들이
accessed
계속 고민을 하고 있는
offline.
상황이에요.
So this is a
지금
task for all
그리고
brands
다음이 이제
today.
비건이나 친환경
And
제품들에
also,
대한 트렌드가
there is a
많이
high
나오고
trend
있고,
on vegan
그리고
products
마스크를
and
계속
eco-friendly
장기화 쓰면서 이제
products,
패스할
and
프리미엄 기초
many people are
취향수나 이런
interested
향에 대한
in
것들이 많이
these
지금
premium
트렌드로
brands for the
가고
skin
있습니다.
as well as fragrances
이걸
because
바탕으로
we are now
23년
wearing
키워드를
masks.
뽑아보면
So the keywords for 2023 are high functioning cosmetics, convenience, wrinkle improvement, skin soothing, and clean beauty and effortless look, and so on.
그리고 이제 제가 두 번째 말씀드린 뷰티 스타트업 성공을 위한
So now I'd like to
전략을
talk about some strategies for the success of beauty startups.
이제
Now that
아까
sounds really
서두에
big,
말씀드렸던 것처럼
but as I
이제
said
제가
before,
그 전에 제주 창조 경제 혁신센터에는 제주 산하의
I
화장품
actually went to a Jeju Cosmetics Center, and there's also similar center like in Osok, in Chungbuk, and what I felt by visiting those centers and by meeting the brands who actually develop and produce their own brands is what is contained in this slide. So we need to be able to analyze the offline market and set the target. So I don't know if this is a right example, but you have your ideal type, but you don't necessarily marry your ideal type. Not everyone marries their ideal type. It's the same thing. So whenever I meet these companies, they don't seem to realize that the customer base whom they wish for, in other words, the customer base that they want, does not actually match the actual customer base who use their products. So from a consumer point of view,
제조하시는 분들 생각하는 그 이상형의 소비자가 이 제품을 구매할 것 같진
this
않은데라는
product
생각이 들 때가 되게 많거든요.
sometimes does
이런
not
예를
suit them
예를
when.
들면 오프라인 진출을 어렵게 했어요.
So let's say that a beauty brand enters an offline store.
제가 봤을 때 이 제품을 쓰는 건 케이스가 되게 예쁘고
Now, and it has some, beautiful casing and low prices, and it could appeal to young students and college students in their 20s, but the brand actually believes that this will be sold to people in their 30s and 40s with higher purchasing power.
그거에 맞는 상권에 제품에 맞는 상권에 진출을 해야 되지만
So you have to be able to distribute your product to the right market, the right offline market, but that is not the case.
상황이 발생하는 거예요. 그러니까 저는 그걸 보면서 그런 걸 좀 갭을 줄이면
So looking at that, I wanted to narrow this perception gap.
조금 더 효과 있고
I wanted the brands to actually set the right target to win more favorable responses from the customers. So let's say that it's a hair product.
탈색이나 염색이 가능한 그런 제품이나 아니면 트리트먼트나 이런
whether it be hair dye product or hair treatment product.
염색이나 이렇게 모발에 색을 입히는 거 우리는 가장 강점을
Let's say that a brand A says our strength lies in this type of shampoo that actually has hair dye effect. This means that this particular brand has to go into an offline store that targets people who are at a senior age. So I believe that this is a very important point. You need to know who your target is when you make your first entry. So you have to find the store that attracts customers who are likely to use your products. And once you enter into that store, you have to be able to provide experiences to the customers. Now, you want your customers to purchase your products, right?
부전하고 그리고 뭐 어린 친구들
So
같은
when
경우는
once
SNS나
customers
여러
buy their
가지로 다
products,
얘기를
they would
하잖아요.
share that with their
그렇게
friends through word of mouth.
자기가 구매한
Young
제품을
people would
이게 좋고
upload
저게
that
좋고 저게
there's
좋고
some
많이
reviews of
홍보가 되는
the
거예요.
product
이게 굳이
through
내가
social
마케팅을
media
하지 않아도
platforms and so
그런
on.
활동을 하려면
So in
오프라인이
order to
필요하다고 이제
induce
말씀을
that,
드리고
you
싶은
really
거죠.
need the offline
지금
channel.
오프라인이 진입 장벽이 굉장히 어렵다고
Yes,
다
I know that it's
얘기하시잖아요.
very
저도
difficult
그렇게
to enter the
생각하지만
offline
진입
channel.
장벽이 가장 어려운 이유 중에 하나가
And the
또
reason for that
첫
is,
번째는 수수료가
first,
가장
there is a
높고
high fee.
그리고 두 번째는
And second,
지금 제가 그 스타트업 브랜드를 미팅을 하다 보면
whenever I
1인
meet
기업이나 뭐
with these startup brands,
많게는
many
뭐
of
회사에
them
5명, 3명 이런
are
브랜드들이
comprised
많아요.
of just
그러면
one
혼자
people
다수
to
일을
up to
하는
five
분들이
people,
많거든요. 마케팅이나
which means
이런 걸
that
했을 때 여러
a
개안
few
되죠.
people has to do
그러면
everything,
인력이 많이
so
부족하기
therefore they
때문에
cannot conduct efficient
판매나 이런
marketing
것들을 모든 걸
activities.
포괄적으로 뭐 로레알이나 이런 대기업처럼 할 수
So
있는
they
여건이
don't
안
have the
되는
capacity
거예요.
to
그래서
do
누군가는
business
이
like
업무를
big
채워줄
companies
수
like
있는
L'Oreal.
다른 구조가
So
필요한
they
거예요.
need
그래서
another
밑에 지금
separate structure who can do this kind
장표에
of
써
stuff
있지만
for them.
진입 장벽이 높은 오프라인은 연합해서 행사를 들어가서
So
A, B, C, D 브랜드 10개가 들어가서
I think the brands,
하나의
for
테마로
example,
같이
could
보여주면
work
시너지가 더
together
배로 나올 수
under
있다고
a
말씀드리고
single
싶은 거예요.
theme. So in other
왜냐하면
words, they
내가
would, for
못하는
example, hold a
일을
temporary
다른 데가
event all
충족시키고
together as an
나는
alliance
온전히 판매에
at a
집중할 수 있고
department
제품을
store,
홍보할 수
which
있잖아요.
means that they will
그런
be able to
브랜드의 그게 뭔가
concentrate on
플러스
their brands
알파가 되고
fully
내가 훨씬
and
내가
promote
노력해서
their
만든 이
brands.
브랜드를 소비자한테 더 정확하게 전달할 수 있는 기회가 생기기 때문에
And they will also be
스타트업을
able
할 수
to
있는 많은
deliver more
브랜드들은
accurate
저는
information
그냥
to the
브랜드 단독으로
customers
나가서
than
뭔가를
by
좀 뭔가 하고
working
싶거나
alone.
물론 온라인만 진행해도 뭐 괜찮겠죠. 그러면 이제 오프라인
Sometimes
진행하는
online
운영비나
channel
대한
might
투자비에
be
대한 부담이 좀
sufficient
적어질 수
because you
있습니다.
will have less
온라인만
burden to invest in
진행하기에는
offline
경쟁이 너무 치열해요. 온라인은 왜냐면 너무 많은
activities,
다수의
but
브랜드들이
online
포커스처럼 막
channels are very
쏟아지잖아요.
competitive. There are
고객이
just so many
직접
brands
대면으로 보지
out
못하는
there.
건 느끼기
And
힘들거든요.
amidst
저도
this high
소비자고
level of
여러분도
competition, it's
소비자라서
very difficult for
아시겠지만
consumers to
그래서
buy your product when they don't
스타트업을 하는
even
브랜드들은
know
저는
what your
꼭
brand
대면의
is and when they
오프라인을
can't
한번 해보는 게 가장
experience
중요하다고
your brand
생각을 하고
physically. So
그런 모노샵으로
start out
로 진행하고 있어요. 근데 이
with
사례라고
these
보는
flea
거죠.
shops, and they
브랜드가
also
연합으로
open these
들어가서
so-called mono
고객이
shops
브랜드의
in
그
major department stores
제품을
and so
구매해서
on.
경험을 체험해보고 좋다고 판단돼서
So these offline
그 정도로
channels will allow
홍보를
the
해주고
customers to actually experience your
브랜드가
brand
직접 하는 게 아니잖아요. 제품을 구매하는 게
and
직접 해주고
promote your brand
그러면서
through word of
브랜드가
mouth,
성장할 수 있는 기회가 조금
which
생기는
would
거니까
provide your
그래서
brand an
스타트업하는
opportunity to
브랜드들이
grow. So
이런
I want
연합 행사를
startup
통해서
brands to
좀 더
take
오프라인
advantage
행사에
of
고객을 좀 더
these
만날 수 있는 기회를 좀 더
group-based
많이 가졌으면
events and
하는
group-based
생각이 듭니다.
activities.
그리고 세 번째는 이건 패키지하고 마케팅의 중요성이라고
Now, I'd like to talk about the
제가
importance
얘기했는데
of packaging
제가
and
처음에
marketing.
보고
Now,
외국 브랜드인
Dear
줄
Dahlia,
알았어요.
when I first saw this brand, I
이게
thought this
케이스가
was
되게
a overseas brand. You know, the case looks very luxurious.
케이스 생각하는 거 케이스보다 가격이 그렇게 비싸지가 않죠.
But contrary to how luxurious the container looks, this brand is not that expensive. When H&B sector really surged in 2019, Dear Dahlia gained a lot of brand awareness from customers in their teens and 20s. And Dear Dahlia still does not have many offline stores, but from 2019 to 2020, it opened a lot of pop-up stores. And I also asked Dear Dahlia to come into AK Plaza. That did not happen. But anyway, Dear Dahlia actually went into these H&B stores as a shop in terms of a shop-in-shop concept. And through the help of these offline channels, Dear Dahlia has grown so much that it's now able to use celebrities for its advertisements. And here's also another brand called Kahi on the left. And their product was very innovative. And I think the launch of this brand was also very timely. It's a brand that can be used by younger people all the way to some older aged people, from students to housewives. And When you first saw the TV ad for Kahi, you probably thought, what was that at first? But then you find yourself being drawn to it. And also Kahi conducted a lot of PPLs in various TV shows and dramas.
브랜딩을 하는 사람도 아니고 마케팅을 하는 사람도 아니지만
I'm not a marketer
현장에서
and I'm not someone who's in charge of branding, but as a person who actually meets consumers and meets startups,
내가 이 돈을 주고 구매했을 때 얼만큼 퀄리티가 이쁘고 이런 게
I believe that a brand needs to satisfy the level of quality and price that customers expect. And Dear Dahlia did well in that, and Kahi also did well, especially in its advertisement. Now, this is a quiz that I'm going to give you. Now, I'm in a department store, I'm working in a department store, so I used all these products. So, if you hear about the word brown bottle or niche perfume, don't certain brands pop up into your head? So, if you're interested in beauty and cosmetics, you probably know this. So, I want to give you this as a quiz. No. Brown bottle. This is so easy. Estee Lauder, right? Night Repair. Everyone knows this. Then what about moisturizing cream? What brand comes into your mind?
맞아요.
Yes, you're right.
저한테 오시는
KL. Yes. Please come to me right after this presentation. What about essence lotion?
맞아요.
Yes, Sicily. That's right.
그다음 아직 손대지 마세요.
Don't raise your hand yet.
하면 이제 조말론이죠.
Niche perfume, Jo Malone, right? That's obvious.
그다음 오일
cleansing.
시쉐이도가 유명하죠.
Shiseido.
그리고 이제 이거는 저희 회사에서 그런 건 아니지만 견미리
Now,
팩트하면
견미리
어디가
face packed. What comes to your mind?
손을 드셔야 되는데.
You have to raise your hand.
맞아요.
Yes, age
세 분은 제가
20s.
따라드리겠습니다.
Yes, I will give you a prize later. Age 20s.
핸드크림 하면
Hand cream.
이제 끝났어요. 세 개밖에
Oh, okay.
없어요.
So I'm actually
역시 땅이고요.
done.
이렇게
I
반응이
only have
좋을 줄
3
몰랐네요.
prizes,
전지현
so I'm
립스틱하면
done.
이제
But anyway,
입생로랑
전지현
립스틱이죠.
lipstick,
파란
YSL,
차 하면 시쉐이도.
and the blue
브랜드에
chemical
그냥 딱,
sunscreen,
그거 하면
Shiseido.
그거라는 시그니처
Now these are
아이템들이
signature
있잖아요.
items, right?
얘네
When you
브랜드가
hear
딱
these
1,
key
10까지
words,
다 잘하는 건 아니에요.
you
중에
immediately
하나가
think
정말
about these products.
그거 하면
And it's not that
얘네야라고
these
나오는
brands
지금 스타트업 하는
do well in
그거
everything.
하면
It's not like all the products of these brands perform at an excellent level, but they do have these specific products that they do very well. So this is what you need to think about for your brand.
상담하고 뭐
Now,
미팅하고 오프라인을 들어가시면 되는 거고 아까 얘기했듯이 제가 서두 얘기했던 것처럼
this is how you would enter into an offline brand, offline channel. You can read this later. And as I said before, if you work together with the brands, you'll be able to find more opportunities to physically meet your customers.
브랜드를 찾아와서 좀 더 내 브랜드를 알 수 있게 하는 게 가장 좋은 방법이라고 생각해요.
I believe that the best way for a brand to grow is to induce customers to come find you.
그런 방법으로 좀
For startups, you cannot
이게 지금 저희가 현재 충북
afford to spend a lot of budget on solo marketing activities and so on. So this kind of activities are very good. And we have 10 brands under the Chungbuk Brand Alliance that are conducting a pop-up store in AK Plaza. And they received very positive responses from the customers.
이런 스타트업 브랜드를 통해서 좀 많이 고객을 보여줄 수 있는 이런 행사를 좀 많이 기획하고 싶고.
So going forward, AK Plaza wants to hold a lot of events for startup brands. And I think that's precisely why the organizer of this event asked me to come make a presentation. And now the so-called K wave is actually blowing all across the world. K fashion, K movie, K culture, and K beauty is also very popular. You know, I hope that going forward, K-beauty will grow so that people will recognize, the global audience will recognize all products of K-beauty being very excellent. Thank you very much. That was Miss SUJIN from AK Plaza. Please give her another big round of applause.
네. 박수 소리는 크지 않은데 상품을 준다고 하니까 소리가 엄청 크더라고요. 계속해서 호응 좀 많이
I saw
보내주시기
some
바랍니다.
people giving really big round of
온라인
applauses when
마케팅이야
she
많이
said that
알려져
she's going to
있지만
give you a
오프라인에
quiz and give
어떻게
you out
입점해야
prizes.
될까? 스타트업
But anyway, I
분들에게
hope that this
민망하실 텐데요.
presentation was helpful for
구체적인
startups who are looking to
방향을
go
제시를
into
해준
offline
도움이 많이
stores.
되는 발표였던 것 같습니다. 그럼 세 번째
Now let's move on to the third
인사이트
presentation.
만나봐야 될 텐데요. 다시 브랜딩
Yes,
사례
we
발표가
will hear
되겠습니다.
about another
대한민국에서 가장
branding
오랜
case.
역사를 자랑하는
And
메이크업 전문
this makeup
브랜드입니다. 다양한
brand
브랜드의 전체
boasts the
사례를
longest
차례차례
history in
성공시켰고요.
Korea
클리오
and
마케팅
has
본부의
successfully launched
이지원
a series
이사님
of
모셔보도록
brands.
하겠습니다.
I would like to
이번 시간에는
invite
메이크업
Director
브랜드의
이지원
디지털
of CLIO,
브랜딩 사례를
who will
준비를
talk about digital
해주셨는데요.
branding of
클리오의
makeup
브랜딩
brands.
스토리와
She
대표
will talk
브랜드
about
페리페라의
CLIO's
최근
signature
브랜딩
brands
사례까지
and the
아낌없이
brand
준비를
activities,
해주셨다고 합니다.
and
박수와
also
함께
about
만나보도록
the case
하겠습니다.
of Peripera. So please give her a big hand.
우리 클리오 감사합니다.
Thank you very much for that kind introduction, and thank you very much, CLIO team.
안녕하세요. 저는 클리오 마케팅
Good afternoon.
본부
My name is
이지원입니다.
Lee-Ji-won. I am the head of the marketing division at CLIO.
그중에서 오늘은 가장
CLIO Cosmetics
대표적인
has
클리오와
9 brands, and
페리페라의
today I would like to tell you about the digital branding cases of CLIO and Peripera, two of CLIO Cosmetics' signature brands. I won't talk about large-sized campaigns, but I wanted to tell you that all digital activities are at the end of the day organically connected to stay on the customer's mind. Before jumping into details, I would like to talk about some theoretical background about the customer brand touchpoint because it will help you follow me. The terms ATL and BTL were used in the past, but given that digital media became a large media, we should look at communication channels from 3 angles. So we have owned media defined as a set of communication outlets. Examples would be social media accounts, websites, or app of a brand. Paid media refers to external marketing efforts that involve a paid placement, such as branded content, ads, or display ads. These days, paid media would largely be digital ads, and earned media is coverage or promotion of your brand through organic means, which includes content created by celebrities, influencers, and consumers. Examples would be comments, reviews, communities, personal social media, blogs, and more. So, on top of that, we have beauty influencers. They could go under paid or unpaid media, but since they have been greatly influenced by various industries, I have separated them. Today, I would like to focus on the activities in owned media. Although not included in today's example, paid media with digital advertising is evolving with competition getting fiercer. With the rise of performance marketing, online advertising expenses have already exceeded half of the total advertising market and still increasing. Beauty ads ranked top 5 in the online advertising market, so the market is huge. Again, although not included in today's case, beauty influencer marketing has also evolved in various ways, and you can actually feel it expanding even as we speak. It is no exaggeration to say that creators and Instagrammers have a greater influence on fans over celebrities or idols. Paid media and owned media, beauty influencers are all key marketing touchpoints, but I think that a key element that runs through these touchpoints is creative content, which is growing in importance as the ad market gets fiercer, as it is the creative content that addresses both branding and marketing at the same time. This usually happens in owned media. And in that regard, I would like to first talk about the case of Peripera. To determine the brand direction in terms of content, we worked on the brand architecture first. I'm sure that by now you have noticed, but Peripera is a beauty brand that manifests the individuality of Gen Zs. So the narrative is go along the trend, but Gen Zs do not want anything that is too obvious or too difficult. They want a bit of an emotional touch that will make their days special. So they want the perfect secret weapon or cheat key for themselves. The keywords include well-flowing vibe, being free, playful, and sensible, as well as friendly. Now, we did some re-articulation of the keywords and the style for Peripera. If you look at the before and after images, now these campaigns were carried out this year. This is the SS season campaign, and the keyword was Pinterest. We wanted Peripera's pink to evoke a sweet sense of excitement without being too childish. We also worked on the number of contents to give endless enjoyment to Gen Zs. Here, so we created 4.5 times more content per shooting. Now, if you plunge into the content for a moment, can you feel the good vibes flowing? And you can also feel the secret weapon that can make you look pretty, and I'm sure that you can feel how free, how liberating it makes you feel. Now, in the official account, we looked at the number of impressions, and the impressions hit 3.8 million. If you're an Instagrammer, I'm sure that you know how huge this number is. And even when compared to the previous annual average, it went up by 6 times for Peripera. So that was a huge success. And that was even without the power of ads or the help of advertising. We also gained another insight. As the quantity and quality of the branded content improved, the efficiency of paid media or advertising went up. As performance marketing becomes more common, branding can feel like a pain in the neck, as advertising content is created based on data and sales. So you tend to chase efficiency because you want to increase ROIC, ROIS, or you want to increase impressions. And sometimes you do not want to focus too much on brand identity because it feels like a luxury. But once I went to a lecture about performance marketing of companion animals, and what resonated with me was that compassion is key when advertising companion animal products. So I think the key message here was that we must never forget the essence of the campaign. We promote and carry out marketing activities for beauty products, so that should be our DNA, that should be our essence. So on the left is the creatives we used during the seasonal sale, and we appealed on the markdown price. And on the right ones show about the markdowns as well, but it articulates the message that it is not any tint that you can find anywhere, any place, but a Peripera tint. As the quantity and quality of content improved, Peripera was able to carry out performance marketing. And of course, it turned out to be quite efficient in terms of numbers. Otherwise, I wouldn't have brought this case. So I really thanked my team members for awakening me and teaching me that creatives can also be this beautiful. Now, next, this is Perry restaurant content we executed in May in collaboration with Utdugi. We also worked on increasing the amount of content, but here a story was built around how Peripera, a must-go restaurant for color cosmetics, came together with Ottugi, a must-go restaurant for instant meal. So the 3-minute ready-made curry concept was borrowed to create a 3-part instant shading with a tint in the shape of a ketchup bottle, and we created a seating box that embodied this concept. And this was turned into a digital content. So as you know, I talked about seating box, and seating box is part of a digital content. And by doing so, we were able to boost effectiveness in earned content because the influencers who received the seating box uploaded so much content for us. So seating boxes became a part of a digital content, and that drove and boosted effectiveness. I don't know whether you've heard of Carrot, a media that covers Gen Z's trends, but actually this case was introduced as a successful collaboration campaign on Carrot. And we also collaborated with TikTok, and TikTok also highly recognized our campaign as a successful campaign. So it shared our case to global marketers, so you can see how well received this campaign was. And this is another campaign that we ran for the summer season. This is 물복닭복 campaign, which stands for soft versus hard peach editions. So the main product here is airy velvet tint, which offers an airy cloud-like quality. So we tried to render the perfect texture and color of the two different peach types when creating our content. So as you can see here, this is the 3D floating content that we rendered. And now, if you look at here, one model is wearing the soft peach velvet tint, going with mild tone and manner, and the hard peach version is a more darker note. And here the brand model is wearing a peach wrapping paper top. It was a brilliant idea. So after creating this content, we were able to drive sales by using customer data and by relying on these brilliant ideas. It actually contributed to sales, as I just mentioned. Let me tell you how it drove sales. What we did is that we pushed messages to our mall or vertical mall customers, and a much larger number of customers rushed in the mall as the content itself was so outstanding and eye-catching. And they also pushed our content on top of their account. And in the vertical malls, our brand also topped the list on Avely, Brandy, and Naver. So I just wanted to tell you that great content can contribute to online sales. And also the number of ROAS, so ROAS reached the thousands range in our branded mall. So as such, the customer data can actually contribute to sales. And we work day and night. As you can see here, we also collaborated with Gen Z's favorite emoji artist, 최고심. I'm sure that you've heard of the expression living your best life. So 고심이 is a cute character that lives its best life, and Peri Pera became the so to speak sponsor of Goshimi. Goshimi is already cute enough, but when combined with Peri Pera, the content exceeded the Instagram impression cap in the first 2 weeks of Pinterest. The record was 4 million impressions. So the previous one was 3.8 million, but this one, the Goshim collaboration edition, surpassed the 4 million mark in terms of impressions. And what we did, we also developed a psychological test for the Gen Zs using the Goshimi emoji. And of course, we cannot tell for sure how psychological tests can actually drive sales. However, the CTR was quite huge. Well, in content marketing, interesting content can create buzz, but it is not clear whether it leads to sales or contributes to brand image. So as I mentioned, we used to be hesitant and we did not use any psychological test marketing before as part of the interesting content exposure. However, now the content was played 130,000 times and CTR was 2.37%, and the content generated more earned media content such as self-test results. And now the Acorn collection is in progress. The creative content exudes the autumn vibes, which is very Peri Pera-like. And products are going through repetitive cycles of sold out and restocking. Now moving on to CLIO's case. CLIO also reviewed its brand architecture. CLIO is inseparable from the concept or theme of confidence. So the slogan was express your own confidence. The narrative is I am honest and free, I have my own way of designing my life, I express myself authentically and confidently, and I enjoy exchanging my beliefs and tastes with others. I'm full of confidence. Now, confidence used to be a keyword in the previous campaigns as well. So we retained the idea for branding. However, we gave more weight to unleashing one's inner confidence and being opinionated than outer beauty. And I don't know whether you can tell the difference between the left and right, but the left is more about perfection, whereas the right is more about being liberated and being bold. It's about celebrating women who have more confidence. Now, in the spring of 2022, we created more than twice as much content as before per shooting. Also, we created content that not only featured our brand models, but also celebrities who can endorse the theme. And this is the number of impressions on the owned media. And the contents created huge exposure on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We created many short-form videos per platform, and this is what happened. We got real-time tweets.
실시간 급상승어 같은 건데 한국만 들어간 게 아니라
well, this is like a search ranking on a portal website, and the content got real-time tweets not only in Korea but also in Indonesia and Philippines, which was a unique experience. And even on Facebook, although I do not know what exact algorithm was behind it, but one content reached 180,000 reaches. So we meshed the right content with the right brand, and that created the craze among the fans and customers. And some may say that's because he used idols as your models, but that's not true. The right brand came up with the right content, and by meshing them together, we were able to drive huge success. Now we are currently carrying out a campaign on the theme of Mangwon Gallery. We developed the product in collaboration with a beauty influencer and turned it into CLIO-like content. And I'm sure that you know who that is. It's Minsko. And I don't know whether you will participate in the beauty night event tonight, but there will be a show with Minsko, so please participate and go see Minsko. And by inviting Minsko to co-work with us as a developer slash model slash content creator, we were able to create create content in owned page and earned media. This is the final case. The new cushion compact, which sold out as soon as it was out in the market. We had one mission, which was to create the vibes of hip and confident, and the theme was incorporated in all visuals that featured the main model, submodel, and product. And a result on day one of launch, customer sales reached 30,000, and that's 1 month worth of sales. So I have told you about what kind of results creative content can produce. It can deliver a higher reach than advertising, even in the absence of advertising budget, and even leads to sales, in commerce sales. It can also generate word of mouth. Going forward, the ad market will undergo fierce competition, and the same goes for influencer and ad marketing, which means that creative content will become more important than ever. I, of course, did not cover that, but please keep in mind that CLIO's products provide the highest quality at all times based on innovation. And now this is the outcome of our work. CLIO enjoyed the best sales performance in the first half of this year. And as you can see from this article, now the brand awareness went up tremendously for CLIO. And for me, this article is yet another creative content that we created. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you. Yes, thank you very much for the presentation. We heard CLIO's cases. Thank you very much, Ms. Lee-Ji-won, for the presentation. Please give her a big hand. Yes, thank you very much. You talked about the effectiveness of marketing activities, and I used Peripera lipstick today, so I was quite drawn to your presentation, and I'm sure that many of you will be able to test CLIO's products at least once in your lifetime, even more so. And it was a great opportunity to learn more about the brand. Thank you.
Now we're down to our last presentation. So what is the #1 beauty app in Korea? You probably know the answer already. That's Hwahae. And Ms. Choi Young-eun, who is a team leader at Hwahae Overseas Business, will be our next presenter. We've dealt with global brand, K-brand, and entry into offline channels. And now let's move into marketing strategies for entering the Chinese cosmetics market in 2022. Please welcome Ms. Choi with a big round of applause. Hello, I'm the head of the overseas business team at Hwahae. My name is Choi Young-eun. So you might be slightly unfamiliar with the fact that Hwahae started its overseas business. So I'm very pleased to be able to introduce our business in an official setting for the first time. So we're currently helping SME brands enter the Chinese market. For that, we have the Hwahae Tmall Global Flagship Store concept shop, and we also conduct marketing activities, especially for the Chinese market. Now, my presentation is about a very hot issue. You probably heard that K-beauty is struggling in China. So how can we enter this difficult market? Based on my team's own experience, I'd like to talk about the latest marketing strategies in China. So my presentation is divided into 3 sections. First,
중국 화장품 시장과
Let's take a look at the Chinese cosmetics market and how K-beauty is doing. And next, I'll try to help you understand the ecosystem of the Chinese marketing. And lastly, I would like to present you with some of the latest marketing strategies that are worth noting for K-beauty's entry into China.
중국 화장품 시장의
The size of the Chinese cosmetics market reached
에 달했고
about 100 trillion won in 2020, and it is expected that the market size will surpass 154 trillion won in 2024, ranking first in the world. Even among global export destinations for Korean cosmetics, China tops the list with an overwhelming share for many years. And even during the pandemic, the amount of export for cosmetics has grown steadily thanks to e-commerce export. We call that cross-border e-commerce.
올해부터는 중국의 성장세가
However, that growth has been on the decline since this year.
저희 K-뷰티가 중국 시장에서는 어떨까요?
So how's K-beauty doing in the Chinese market? So up until 2018, Korea has been number one cosmetics exporter to China, but since 2019, it has been in third place, falling behind Japan and France. So
프랑스 브랜드들이
some assess that Japanese and French brands, which competed with quality for a long period of time, have gradually replaced K-beauty, especially with issues like fad and fake products. And since 2021,
중국에서 수입 화장품 전반적으로
imported cosmetic products in general have faced a decline in China, and this is largely due to a new consumption trend in the country,
자국 문화와 제품 소비를
which encourages people to consume local brands, local culture, and local products. This trend is called guochao.
중국 시장에서 K-뷰티가 빛을
So today,
잃어가고
K-beauty is
있다는
losing
현상에
its grounds
대해서
in the Chinese
중국
market.
현지에서는
And local
K-뷰티가
analysts in
중국
China
고객들의
say that
구매
K-beauty and its
습관에
marketing
대해서
strategies have
마케팅
failed to
전략을
respond to
적절하게
changes in the purchasing
조정하지
habits
못했다는
of
평가가
Chinese
있고요.
customers.
제가 많은 브랜드사분들과 체감하기로는
I've collaborated with many brands,
높아지는
and
중국
I'm
마케팅
seeing an
비용이라든지 그리고
increased number of
까다로워지는
cases
중국
where,
절차라든지
because of
환경적인
rising marketing
요인으로
costs and difficult
중국 시장을
export
포기하시는
procedures,
경우들이
brands
점점
give
늘어나고
up
있는 것
on the
같습니다.
Chinese market.
다만 앞서 보여드렸던 것처럼 중국이
But as I showed you earlier,
화장품의
the
수출함에
Chinese
있어서
cosmetics
가장 큰
market
규모를
is
가지고
big
있고
enough to drive the
K-뷰티가
expansion of
확장을 할수
K-beauty.
있어서의 굉장히 높은 가능성을 견인하는 규모이기 때문에
It's big
중국
enough
진출의 문턱 자체가
to
높아진 것은
contain
사실이나
many potentials
미생화가
for
필요하지
K-beauty.
않은
So yes, it's true that the threshold for entering China has become higher.
중국 최신 트렌드를
But
부합하는
if you
마케팅
target the
전략을
right
올바르게
cross-border
강구한다면
e-commerce route
도전
that does not
자체는
require
결코
sanitary
어렵지 않을
permission and
것이라고
develop a marketing
말씀드리고
strategy
싶습니다.
that fits the brand and the latest trends in China, then the challenge will not be
중국이라는
too
국가는
difficult to
사실
handle.
하나의 새로운
So I think it will be
세계라고
easier
봐주시는 게
to see
굉장히
China not
더
as another
이해하시기에는
country,
편할
but
것
as an
같은데요.
entirely different world.
글로벌 플랫폼인 인스타그램이나
There are limits to
페이스북의
using
사용이
global
어렵기
platforms
때문에
like
중국
Instagram and
현지
Facebook, so you need to
SNS
come up with
플랫폼을
a strategy to
적절하게
understand the
사용하시는 게
local
굉장히
social
중요합니다.
media platforms and how to use them in an appropriate way.
개인적으로는 글로벌보다도
And personally, I
중국
think
현지의
social media and
SNS의
e-commerce trends
변화가
are
굉장히
changing
빠르다고
much
느끼고
faster in
있는데요.
China than any other place in the world. So if I were to give you a brief explanation of the transformation history from 2012 to 2015, Weibo, which is like blog and Twitter, and WeChat, a messenger like Kakao Talk, and also Wanghong KOLs, who had a large number of followers, were the main marketing channels. From 2016 to 18, short-form platforms like TikTok and Chinese Instagram Xiaohongshu became popular, and that's when the concept of key opinion customers or KOC marketing was first introduced. These are Wanghongs who can make a sufficient impact on purchasing activities even without many followers. And in 2019 to 2020, live commerce and live broadcasting thrived. Various social network platforms also opened commerce and live broadcasting functions, and many Chinese celebrities and Wanghongs engaged in live broadcast. From 2021 to today, marketing has entered a period of maturity overall. Now, there are the top 3 live commerce Wanghongs like
웨이야,
Lijachi,
셜리 등이 좀
Wheya, and
몰락하면서
Shirley, which accounted for
이제는
more than 60% of the
브랜드들이
market,
직접
collapsed.
고객과 소통을
And now we're
시도하는
seeing
되게 복합적인
some
마케팅
compound marketing
전략들을
strategies in
흔히
which
보실 수
brands are trying to
있습니다.
communicate directly with the customers.
고객의 구매 여정 자체에도 좀 변화가
There has also been a
있었는데요.
notable change in the
이전에는
customer's
주의,
purchasing
흥미,
journey.
검색,
Previously, it was
구매, 공유,
an
AISAS
AISAS model starting from
띄었었다면
attention to interest,
현재는
search, action,
도우인이나
and share.
샤오슈
But
같은
today,
추천화면이
we're seeing
메인인
growing
플랫폼들의
influence of
영향력이
platforms that are based
커지면서
on recommendations from
주의,
Douyin and
흥미, 검색 이 세
Xiaohongshu.
가지 단계가
So the
고려라는
three
한 가지
steps of
단계로
attention,
통합된
interest, and
모습들을
search are
보실
now
수 있습니다.
integrated into a single step
다시
called
말해서
consideration.
예전에는
So in other
고객들이
words,
좀
customers in
수요를
the
먼저
past felt the
느끼고
demand on their own
검색해서
first,
구매하는
made
습관들이
searches, and
있었다면
then took
지금
action. But
현재는
now
발견을 하게
they
되고 그
discover
수요를
first
느껴서
and then feel the
구매를
demand
결정하는
and take
여정으로
action.
이해해
So
주시면
this
될
is
것
how
같습니다.
their journey changed.
현재 중국 시장에서 가장 중요한
Now,
마케팅은 이 고려라는
The most
단계를
crucial part
활용하는
of marketing
것인데요.
in China is how to deal with
고려라는
this
단계를
consideration
활용하는
stage.
마케팅은
The
흔히
marketing
말하는
strategy
쫑차오라는
using the stage
마케팅입니다.
consideration is called
쫑차오의
Zhongchao
한자적인
marketing.
의미는
This
말
literally
그대로
means
풀을
to
심다라는
plant
뜻을
grass
가지고 있어요.
in Chinese
그래서
characters.
현재 중국에서 좀 핫한 SNS 플랫폼들이
So
어플을
really
처음 켰을 때
popular
첫 화면이
social media platforms in China show personalized recommendations when people first turn on the app, so the user stays in the application for a long time without realizing it.
그 쫑차오의 플라이 휠을 제가 그려봤을 때는
So the
먼저
flywheel
입소문을
of
통해서
Zhongchao
브랜드의
is that
인지도
you
자체를
first increase customers' brand
상승을
awareness through word of
그리고
mouth
KOC 위주의 좀 질된
and expose them to
후기들을
product
콘텐츠를
reviews
노출시켜서
written
일반
by
소비자들에게
genuine
이
consumers, mainly
쫑차오라는 고려
KOCs, and then
단계들을
create
만들어내고요.
Zhongchao or the
그리고
consideration
소비자가
stage.
구매를
And then
결정해서
you make
제품을
consumers
직접
take
경험하고
action and
나면
experience the
그
product,
소비자가
and that
또 다른
consumers,
쫑차오
those
콘텐츠들을
consumers create
만들어내서
another new
브랜드는
Zhongchao
인지도를
content,
자연스럽게
which naturally
획득할 수
secures
있는
more
이런
brand
선순환을
awareness.
가지고
So it's a
있습니다.
virtuous cycle.
다음은 이제 샤오슈 전반에 걸쳐서 유행하고 있는 쫑차오 마케팅의 예시인데요.
So these are some examples of
높은
Zhongchao
팔로워를
contents that is
가지지
actually
않은
popular in
일반
Xiaohongshu.
콘텐츠의
So even
퀄리티
ordinary
자체만
users who do
좋다면
not have
높은
many followers can
인터랙션들을
acquire traffic like high views and
획득할 수 있는
interactions
그런 구조를
if the
가지고
quality of their
있습니다.
contents are good enough.
그리고 앞서서
I told you earlier that
다양한 현지
understanding the
SNS
local
플랫폼을
social media
먼저
platforms in
이해하고
Korea is very
그리고 적절하게
important,
활용하는
and being
것이
able to use them
중요하다고
properly is also
말씀드렸는데요.
important.
KBT가 중국에서 주요적으로
So,
좀 활용하실 수 있을
now I'm
만한
going to talk
플랫폼들에
about
대한 비교 조사를
or
공유드렸습니다.
compare some platforms
결국
that can be
중국 초기
utilized by
진출
K-beauty in the Chinese market.
단계에서는 현
So
트렌드에
when you first enter
맞춰서는
the
마케팅
Chinese
자체는
market, your marketing
도우인과
should, of course, focus on the
샤오슈를
current
이용하시는 게
trends.
가장 올바른
I would
것
say that
같고,
Douyin and
커머스는
Xiaohongshu
타오바오에 집중하시는
are the
게
main
좋을 것 같다고
social media
말씀드리고
platforms that you should
싶습니다.
use, and for commerce that would be
도우인과 샤오슈
Taobao.
같은 경우는
Now, Douyin and
SNS
Xiaohongshu
플랫폼에서
started out as social media
현재는 커머스
platform and
기능까지
later
오픈을
added the
하기는
function of
했지만
commerce.
본래는 SNS
But because it's still
전체적인
dedicated to the role of
역할이
being a social media
이벤트나
platform,
프로모션이나
without
마케팅 자체를
promotion
투입하지
or
않는
marketing
경우에는
or special
매출이 거의
events,
일어나지
sales are
않는다는 단점이
hardly
있습니다.
generated. So that's a downside of them.
중국 초기 진출에는
So as with all
결국에는
companies,
브랜드사분들은
especially SMEs,
리소스랑 자원
your
자체가
resources
굉장히 한정적이실
and
거고요.
other
이
things would be
플랫폼의
limited when you first
기능에
enter
충실하게
China.
활용해서
So you
활용하시는
need
전략이
to
필요하실 것
adopt a
같습니다.
select and concentration strategy when it comes
저희
to
화해
choosing
해외사업의
the
경우에는 이
platforms.
플랫폼을
Now for
가장
Hwahae,
잘
we
본래의
actually
기능에
selected
충실하게
certain
활용해서
platforms
단기간에
and
좀
we
높은
concentrated
성과를 얻을 수
on their
있었던
original
그런
functions
사례라고 봐주시면 좋을 것
to
같은데요.
create
커머스는
high
저희는
level of
팀을
accomplishments at a short period of time. In commerce, we're focusing on Team of Global, and for marketing, we use Xiaohongshu. Really fits what Hwahae is doing, and as a sub-platform, we're using Douyin.
이에 따라서 중국 진출 마케팅 전략을 총 세 가지.
Now, I'd like to talk about 3 marketing strategies when you enter
일단 첫
China.
번째는 저희가
First,
중국 소비자들을
you need to know your
알아야겠죠.
Chinese customers.
그래서 다양한 중국 현지 리서치 기관에
According
의하면
to local
중국 소비자들은
research
현재는
agencies,
성분과 효과를 가장
the biggest
중요하게
concern of
생각한다고
Chinese
합니다.
consumers today is ingredients
실제로
and also the
샤오슈
effects of the
내
cosmetics
인기 검색
product.
키워드를 보면
So if you look at
성분이
샤오홍슈, the main keyword related to cosmetics is ingredient, and a new terminology was recently coined called ingredient group. These are a group of customers who really put importance on ingredients. And if you look at various platforms, contents related to cosmetics, ingredients are driving the highest level of interaction. If you look at ingredient-related keywords in Tmall, you'll be able to see that consumers in China are mainly interested in blemish improvement, anti-aging, and moisturization. So whether you're selecting specific products for the Chinese market or have China in mind, even from the development stage, I recommend that you periodically conduct market research on ingredients that are popular in China. When Chinese local brands or global brands want to appeal to Chinese consumers, they focus their marketing activities on ingredients. Now, the next part is the most important part of my presentation. It's about globalization. In the past, even if a Korean brand did not have high brand awareness in Korea, as long as you met the right distributor, your brand flourished in China. But today, we're seeing an increased number of those so-called checksumers. So, if it's a global brand, brand awareness in the country of origin is deemed very important among Chinese consumers. So now it's essential for you to build a solid reputation in Korea and take advantage of that to establish localized content marketing in order to enjoy successful branding in China. It's essential. This part is inevitable now. So here, in Hwahae, we were able to position ourselves in the Chinese market, taking advantage of the fact that Hwahae has a very high brand awareness in Korea as being the country's #1 beauty platform. And we delivered localized contents to attract many followers in our official account in a very short period of time, as well. As a matter of fact, Hwahae's official account in 샤오홍슈 attracted more than 50,000 followers in a short period of time. We used the Korean local data in Hwahae platform, and we also incorporated contents related to local trends.
K-뷰티 브랜드가 사실 중국의 이제 글로컬리제이션으로 좀 성공했었던 사례를 소개드리면
So I'll give you some examples of successful globalization strategies by K-beauty brands. So there's a brand named Torridon. So it raised its awareness in Korea fast by using Hwahae. And its serum called Dive in Serum ranked first place in Korea Hwahae Beauty Award in 2021. And Torridon used that piece of information as a selling point in China. And when selling on Tmall, Hwahae emblems were used to appeal to customers. And they were able to generate high revenue. And as a result, the Torridon Dive in Serum ranked first place in Tmall Global. Now I'd like to talk about Hwahong marketing and related strategies. Hwahong marketing is very effective when you want to gain tremendous amount of effect in the shortest amount of time in China, but that means that the marketing cost is very high. So you have to use these Hwahongs in an efficient manner. To effectively collaborate with Hwahongs, you need to first understand that they are classified as micro, middle, and top Hwahongs. So you have to keep this pyramid in mind and decide which class of Hwahong you want to use. So there are three main strategies to working with Hwahong. First, you have to know the structure of the Hwahong pyramid, and then depending on the status quo of the brand as well as the time to prepare for the promotions, divide these Hwahongs into different stages and collaborate accordingly. And second, when you're verifying the Hwahongs, don't just look at the number of their followers, but you have to look at the overall interaction and validate their efficiency. And
그 협업
Third,
관계를 구축하셔서
create a short to mid-term
왕홍에게는
cooperative
브랜드에 대한
relationship with
로열티를
Wanghongs.
그리고
This will
브랜드
raise their
입장에서는
loyalty
콘텐츠 회당
towards the
마케팅
brand
비용을
while you
효율화하는
can efficiently
그런
manage the
전략들을
cost
확인하실
per
수
content.
화해가 직접 왕홍과 협업했었던 성공
So let me
사례들을
give you some examples in which Hwahae collaborated with Wanghongs. So first is a case when we took a step-by-step approach. According to the stage of promotion, we were able to efficiently manage the cost because of that. And
두 번째로는 그 인터랙션 자체가
second
굉장히
case
높고
was a
팔로워는
collaboration
낮은
with a Wanghong who
왕홍과
didn't have many followers but had an overwhelming interaction statistics.
뷰를 확보할 수 있었던
So we were able to maximize the number of views at a low cost. And last example is a long-term contract with Wanghong. So this helped Wanghong secure loyalty towards Hwahae, and we achieved successful branding.
그래서 앞서 말씀드렸던 중국 마케팅 전략 세 가지.
So if I were to talk about the Chinese marketing and three strategies related to it, you need to think about these three things. First, understand the Chinese consumers and find the selling point focused on the ingredients. Second, securing brand awareness in Korea is first. And then you will be able to persuade the Chinese consumers based on objective data.
그리고 세 번째로는 왕홍의
So globalization strategy is the key. And third, you have to know that there are different classes of Wanghongs. So you have to approach them in an efficient manner in order to generate maximum efficiency at low cost. So our business mission is that we are a platform that grows together with SMEs. And so that's why we expanded our overseas business last year. And today we are providing an integrated solution to help many brands enter the Chinese market. Our overseas team's ultimate goal is for all SME brands to enter overseas market and enjoy success even without having to create an overseas business team of their own, but just by collaborating with Hwahae. So the brands can use the Hwahae app to secure brand awareness in the local market here in Korea. And by collaborating with our overseas business team, they can enjoy an integrated solution that will help them conduct sales and marketing activities in China. So our overseas business team can be contacted through this email address written on the screen. If you give us an email, we will respond to you on a first come first served basis. Thank you very much. That was Ms. Choi Young-eun, team leader of Hwahae Overseas Business. So Hwahae has gone beyond the #1 beauty app in Korea to go global. Now, the Chinese market is the top 2 global beauty market, and I'm sure that many brands want to enter the Chinese market. So this presentation showed you how you can make that dream into a reality. Thank you very much, Ms. Che. We appreciate your presentation. So that concludes the second part of the conference. We will take a short break and resume at 4 p.m. Thank you very much once again to our 4 presenters. Please give them another big round of applause. And that concludes part 2 of the conference. Thank you.
네, 안녕하십니까. 다시
Good
인사드리도록
afternoon. Allow me
하겠습니다.
to
아나운서
introduce myself
강지혜입니다.
once
여러분
again. My
반갑습니다.
name is Kang Ji-hye and I'm an announcer.
네, 감사합니다.
Thank you for the warm
K-뷰티
applause.
산업과 함께
So
성장한
this is a
우리
time
선도
for us
기업들의
to
쌓아온
listen
노하우와
to the
인사이트를
leading companies in the
K
K-beauty
스타트업과
industry, sharing
강소기업과
their
함께
know-hows and
나누는 시간이죠.
insights
뷰티
to
트렌드
beauty
인사이트
startups
이제
and
벌써
hidden
마지막
champions.
회입니다.
This
여기 2부
conference is
함께
titled
해주신
Beauty
분들이
Trend
대부분인 것
Insight, and we
같아요.
have
굉장히
entered
알찬
into
내용으로
part
꾸며졌는데요.
3.
도움이
So
많이
we
되셨나요?
have heard many
기대가
constructive
되시죠?
presentations. I'm sure that was very
네,
helpful
1부
for
스마트
you,
뷰티테크,
and I'm
2부
sure you're looking
디지털
forward
마케팅에
to
이어서
part
이제
3 of it.
3부입니다.
In part 1, we
에코,
talked about smart beauty and tech.
ESG
Part 2, digital and marketing.
펼쳐질
And now in
텐데요.
part
뷰티
3, we will
브랜드가
talk about
ESG
eco
트렌드에
and ESG
대응하는
beauty
사례를
trends in the
소개하는
cosmetics
시간입니다.
industry.
ESG 하면은
Now,
이미 다 아실
ESG is a
거예요.
really hot
환경과
topic
또 사회,
these
또 시대
days.
구조를 뜻하는
It
말인데요. 윤리적,
stands for
사회적으로 기업을 경영하자는
environment and
뜻이죠. 뷰티
society and
산업은 여기에
governance.
어떻게
And how
대응을
is
나가야 할까요?
beauty industry
발표를
responding
통해서
to
아마 그
the
해답을
ESG
모색해
trend?
보실 수
You will
있을 겁니다.
find the answers to this
ESG
question
트렌드에
in
대한
the
여러 기업들의 노력과
presentations.
한국 콜마의 사례를
So
소개해
let's
주실
now
분입니다. 한국
invite
콜마
our first
스킨케어
speaker.
연구소의 이현숙 상무님.
We will
박수로
hear
모시면서
from
최신
Sook,
화장품 트렌드와 개발
Director
현상에 대해서
of the
들어보도록
Skincare R&D Lab at Kolmar Korea, who will talk about the latest cosmetics market and development trends. Please give her a big hand.
네, 안녕하세요. 저는
Good afternoon,
뷰티,
everyone.
에코,
As
ESG
introduced, my
뷰티의
name
첫
is
섹션을
Hyun
맡게
Sook,
된
and I
한국
will be the
스킨케어
first
연구소
presenter
이현숙입니다.
of part 3 of
반갑습니다.
this session. It's a pleasure to meet you all.
네,
I work
ESG가
for the
그야말로
Skincare
되게
R&D
화두인데요.
Lab
화장품
at
산업 분야에서는
Kolmar
어떻게
Korea.
적용하고
ESG
저희가
is one of the
대응을
biggest
하고
trends,
있는지
and
오늘 이 시간을
how
통해서
is Kolmar
공유를
Korea
드려보도록
responding to the
하겠습니다.
trend would be
제가
my
연구소 소속이라 그런지
presentation
무엇인지
topic.
이렇게 약간
So I
정의를
work
하고
for a
시작하는
lab,
거를
so
선호하는 것 같아요.
I like
화장품이라는
definitions.
것들이 화장품
So
응용으로
cosmetics
정해져
products
있거든요.
are
그래서
defined
제가 잠깐
by
여기에
the
화장품에 대한
act
정의를
of
가지고
cosmetics,
왔는데요.
and this is the definition
화장품은
of
피부와
cosmetics
모발을
products.
대상으로 하는
And
것입니다.
these are
그리고
defined as
피부의
articles
건강과
intended
보습의
to be
기능을 주는
applied
것이고요.
to the human body
바르고
by being
문지르는
rubbed,
이런 사용
poured,
방법들이 나와
sprinkled,
있어요.
or sprayed
그리고
for
마지막에
cleansing,
보시면 인체에 대해
promoting
작용을
attractiveness,
정리하는
beautifying, or
것이라고 표기를 해서
altering the
의약품과는
appearance.
또 다른
And you can apply this to your hair or skin.
법에서 보시면
And it
조금
also
더
talks about
감각적인 단어가 있는
some
걸 보실 수가
therapeutic
있는데요. 여기서 매력을 더한다라고 표기가 되어 있는 게 있습니다.
attributes as well.
사실 저는 이제
And
화장품을
as I
개발하는
mentioned, it is
연구원으로서
also designed
이
to
자체가
promote
굉장히
attractiveness.
마음에 들었는데요.
And I really
네,
liked
저희가
this
열심히
definition.
일하고 집에
And
가서
it really
샤워를 하고 씻고 나오면 굉장히
tells me
개운하고 상쾌하고
why
또
I
마음이
work so
진정되는
hard
걸
and then
느낄
I
수
go
있잖아요.
to home, and then
데이트나
after
특별한 약속이 있을
refreshing
때
yourself,
또
you feel
평소와 다른
really
메이크업을 한다거나
freshened
다른
up,
옷과 매칭을
and
시켰을
after
때는
applying
뭔가
cosmetics,
더
you feel
자존감도
good,
올라가고
and it
자신감도
boosts your
생겨서
self-confidence
기능적인
as well.
것뿐만
So it
아니라
not only offers
심리적인
various
무드를
functions,
표현하는
but also
그야말로
emotional
저처럼
benefits as well,
매력적인
and
산업
it helps you
분야가
lift your
있습니다.
moods. So
그래서
it
이렇게
really
화장품
provides
보시는
many
것처럼
benefits. As you can
내용과
see here,
패키지까지
cosmetics
다양한
development
구성
involves the
요소들이
creation
이런
of
다양한
formula,
구성
ingredients,
요소들이
package,
ESG
and
어떻게
fragrance and
부각되는지
package.
한번
And I
살펴보도록
would like to
하겠습니다.
talk about this in relation to the
시장과
topic
소재,
of
그리고 뷰티
ESG.
산업에서의
So
ESG
I will
사례들을
talk
가지고
about some of the
조금
cases in the
부족하지만
market,
인사이트까지 도출하는
and
과정으로
at the very end,
설명을
I will
첫
also
번째
try to
시장입니다.
gain some
지금
insights.
ESG가
Now this is the
국내뿐만 아니라 전
market.
세계적으로
ESG is
있는데요.
not only a
실제로
local trend but a global
이전
trend
글로벌사에서
that has
더
garnered much
적극적으로
attention,
실천하고 그
and
개념을
companies are working very
공감하고
hard
있는
towards
상태인데요.
this mission,
아마도
and
기업의
all
이렇게
companies
홈페이지에
agree
들어가면
that
그 회사의
ESG is something
영역과
that we
대표
must
이사님들의
attain.
인사말들을
If you look
보실
at
수가
the
있을
website
거예요.
of the cosmetics
예전에는
brands,
기업과 같이 기술을
before they
만들고
talked about the
활로를 개척하고
value-added
혁신 상품을
content
만들고
and about
하는
being
그런
creative and
기술
about being
발전에
innovative,
포부가
so they
담긴
very much
것들이
focused
많았다면
their message on the
최근에는
technology.
우리가 만든
But
상품과
now, if you look at the
물건들이
CEO messages
고객을
on their
이롭게
respective
하고 또 그
websites,
이로
they talk about
환경을
ESG and being
생각하고
eco-friendly
사회와
and
경제에
caring for the
이바지하는
planet
그런
and
ESG 의
contributing to the
마음을
society and
담는
economy
것들이 굉장히 많이
as a
나와 있는
result.
걸 보실
And
수가 있을 거예요.
so the
이처럼
ESG is at the
기업은
core
책임감을
of
가지고
their message.
환경과 사회를
So
위해
it's about
노력해야
being
한다는 것들이
responsible
모든
for
산업
our
분야에 나와
society and
있는데요.
our
지금
environment.
여기에서 보시는 거는
And that's a
그런
message
것들을
that all
보여주듯이
CEOs try to convey.
글로벌에서
And as you can see here, clean beauty
이상씩 성장하고 있는
is
것들을
experiencing 眼睛 experiencing a double-digit growth every single year. And that's not just a global trend. As I mentioned, we can see that trend in Korea as well. This is a Google trend analysis result. And this is the result. I told you that, well, this was a very popular topic. And in Korea, if you travel back about 3 to 4 years, ESG and clean beauty became a very popular topic among the millennials. And you can see that the search is surging. Now, pharmaceuticals as well as derma brands have gained much traction from the millennials. Now, based on their belief and their consciousness, millennials buy products. However, cosmetics market is a highly competitive market, but consumers really want to buy better products. But here, according to a survey, 70.5% of consumers said that they hope their consumption helps someone out there, and 55.4% said, I am willing to buy a product from an ethical company, even if it is more expensive. So as you can see here, the number is quite high. That is the new consumption trend that we can witness recently. So that has become a new trend here, and we need a marketplace to sell those products. As you can see here in online and offline, we are seeing an emergence of the malls that sell eco-conscious and eco-friendly products. And these are made available to the consumers and very accessible and approachable to the consumers, so they can test the products very easily. As for offline markets, the moment you step in the stores, you can feel the fragrance and the entire curation of the mall really feels you like you are in nature. And you can test the product anytime and as you wish. Now the products are becoming more diverse, and as a result, we need more segmented concepts and messages to deliver to the consumers. So now I would like to talk about ingredients, package, and concept. As for ingredients, when I was a working level staff in the labs about 10 years back, of course at the time ingredients was a key component of cosmetics. However, now we had more requests about formula than ingredients. However, now ingredients are given more weight than formula. So where does it derive from? What is the origin and how was it made? What is the process behind this? And they want to be able to convey that this was made in a very conscious manner, and they want to send that message to the consumers. And of course, ingredients go hand in hand with eco-friendly package. So as you can see here, we want some labels that can come off easily, as well as biodegradable containers. And as for concept, water is an essential component here. We have powder wash and powder serums that try to move away from using too much water. And now we have a solid type cosmetics product as well that do not use water at all. And that has emerged as a new trend in terms of concept. Now I analyze the trend. Then how are the consumers receiving this? How are they perceiving this? This is a result of a recent survey. So about 50% said that they actually purchased a clean beauty product once in their lifetime because of the safe ingredients, and they feel like these products will be using safe and good ingredients. However, some were shunning away from using clean beauty products, and we dived into the reason. Because they were afraid of using this because they were not clear on the efficacy of the product, and they were not sure about the concept. So they do understand that these clean beauty products aim to become eco-friendly, but But we need to boost awareness and we need to be able to promote the benefits better to the consumers. Now, of course, well, no matter how good the concept is or the product is, without the technology, we cannot fully make a 100% excellent or quality product. So now I would like to talk about smart farm and upcycling, and this is science-based. And as you can see here, this has emerged to meet the new demand. Smart farming uses ICT to remotely observe the growing environment of crops. And as for upcycling, it is to recycle produce that lose product value. Now, the farmers have much difficulty because the temperature, the humidity, and the nutrients that all produce requires is different. So it is very difficult to control the environment. However, now with the help of IoT technology, farmers can detect, can track and collect the data, they can analyze the data, and they can provide the exact environment that the plants need to grow well. And that is applied to these types of smart farming. And now I would like to briefly talk about some aqua farming plants. So now on top you have the plants, at the bottom you have fish. So as you can see, this creates a virtuous cycle. You use less water, and the excrete from the fish actually becomes a nutrient for the crops and plants that the farmers grow. Now, by using smart farm technology, we can actually apply that to some of the natural protected areas, because we have so many natural protected areas in Korea, and we can use less energy, but at the same time manage the output better. And by doing so, we could grow some native seeds of these areas. Now, moving on to upcycling. If you go to the supermarket, you will see very well-shaped fruits and produce, because they are the ones that sell well. So the ugly ones will not sell well. So every year, over 1 billion tons of ugly produce is tossed away, and the methane gas is generated in the process of decomposition, and the result is air pollution. And that sometimes during some of the local events related to local specialties, these produce are actually used briefly but then tossed away. So we could actually recycle those products as well. So let's say that there is a festival for a specific flower. We have many of those festivals to draw more tourists, and that's why they create a larger area to plant those flowers. But then the festivals only last for a few weeks or for a few days, and after the festival is over, they will toss away the flowers. But then what we can do, we can extract the ingredients from the flowers, and we could make some oil products and some other scrubs and some of the products that can come, such as extracts, oil, and scrubs from these ingredients. Now let us talk about some of the ESG trends in the beauty sector. Now ESG management is a rising trend in the cosmetics industry. How to preserve our planet and how can contribute to the society, how to maintain a healthy business practice is something that the businesses are focusing on. And as a result, we do see many success cases and practices. So now on top you see that consumers are refilling their bottles. Now consumers can actually refill their own empty bottles, and now this has been allowed by a recent regulatory change.
굉장히 고무적이라고 생각이
And
들어요.
I think that this is quite encouraging.
정말 이렇게 따라가는데 규제가
Because
한다라고 하면
if the regulation does not go hand in hand with the trend, then what's the use of pursuing a cause? So being able to refilling your own container is a step toward making a sustainable change. And if you return empty bottles, then the brands will sometimes refill your bottles. And I'm sure that you saw many water bottles without labels. And label-free bottles have become a new trend in the cosmetics industry as well. And some companies aim zero waste, and there are some companies that have declared that they will now produce zero waste bottles. And now we also have plastic that decays, and sometimes containers that are 100% degradable are used by some of the brands. Now I would like to talk about the relationship and the context of social and governance. First, I would like to talk about what we can do for the visually impaired people by using bright labels. If you're visually impaired, then those people have a hard time telling which is shampoo and which is conditioner. So about 2 to 3 years back, some of the cosmetics brands started to use bright labels, and we are seeing an increasing number of Korean companies following suit. So I think that that is the direction that we need to go to. And as you can see here, there are some companies that hire both people with and without disabilities, and they co-create products that are eco-friendly, and those are well received by the consumers. And I also talked about the upcycling. And we see many upcycled products, and some of the companies have MOU with local farmers to co-develop some of their products, and at the same time they can induce workforce, so it's a win-win for all the stakeholders. So what we're doing at Kolmar Korea is to be part of this movement, and we want to seek ESG values to the utmost. So this is the steps that we are taking.
그러면 아무래도 저희가 화장품 회사이다
And since we are a
보니까
cosmetics
어려운
company,
쉬운 키워드로 소비자들과 소통을
we want to
하고
communicate better with the consumers and re-articulate the message so that it is more approachable to the consumers. The first is effective, which is a combination of fact and active, and it talks about being transparent and being fair. So these are the ingredients or components that we use, and this is why this is recyclable. This can be recycled. We need to be able to better communicate such a message, and we also need to be able to quantify what we are actually doing. I think that really matters. To be measurable is quite important. And the second keyword is hugging beauty. I talked about being embracing and being inclusive with the community. So I think that we need to be able to hug diversity going forward, and that applies to ingredients and formula and different shades and so on and so forth. So I talked about some of the technologies in terms of materials and some ESG trend and some of the new trends in this market. Now I would like to briefly talk about the strategies going forward. And there were some people that had low expectations for the efficacy of clean beauty products. So we need to target those consumers and be able to identify their needs better to create functional clean beauty products with strong efficacy. And of course, at the same time, we need to be able to identify clean but safe ingredients. And at the same time, we need to be able to follow the global and local regulations because we need to adhere to the changing regulatory environment as well. And at the same time, we have to be aware of greenwashing, which is why we will need to redefine the definition of functional clean beauty products. And we need to be able to create added value for the consumers. Now, this is the slide that I showed at the beginning of my presentation. So when it comes to ESG, I'm sure that you are aligning your strategies for all of these components to ESG. So we need to be doing that going forward as well. And Kolmar Korea is also working very hard to stay responsible and to really care about the ingredients that we use and to develop proprietary technology to develop components or ingredients that show high efficacy, and we will also make sure that it's science-based when we test the formula or ingredients and so on and so forth. And also we with a green certification and reduction of emissions, we're contributing to eco-friendliness, and we also pursue eco-friendliness with eco-friendly package. And last but not least, we are working very hard toward ESG practice with our CSR activities and responsible management. I'm sure that you're all wearing makeup today, and we want you to wear makeup that is safe and reliable. So we will do our best to make that happen for you. Yes, thank you very much, Ms. Lee, for the presentation. Your presentation was quite impressive, but I think that your presentation really taught me what's happening with the products that I'm actually using in my everyday life. So thank you very much for that. Thank you.
이렇게 뷰티 트렌드 인사이트가 시작이 될수록 많은 분들이 함께하고
So many people are joining us for Beauty Trend Insight, especially for session 3. ESG has become an indispensable element in the beauty industry, and we are now talking about how we can incorporate ESG into our business activities. At this time, Ms. Park Hye-jun, who is from the Design Center at CLIO Cosmetics, will talk about what design and marketing can do for eco-friendliness and how. The title of her presentation is ESG Experience and Value Design Delivered Through Design Thinking. Please welcome her with a big hand. Hello, my name is Park Hye-jun. I'm from CLIO Design Center. So today I would like to talk about something that the industry is interested in and what we're all implementing. That is eco-friendliness. Now, eco-friendliness, we all know that's very good, but sometimes it sounds quite serious and very just and value, but we're people, so we also want to pursue pleasure and happiness. So CLIO actually adds to this a seriousness of eco-friendliness, pleasure, and enjoyment. And so I'd like to talk about some related cases here today. Before I go into the cases, let me talk about what CLIO is doing and what Design Center is doing, just very briefly. CLIO was founded in 1993, and we will celebrate our 30th anniversary next year. As you know, yesterday,
고객들에게
today,
즐거움과
and
또
tomorrow.
자신감을 주기
CLIO
위해서
always
노력하고
strives to
또
provide
앞서가는
enjoyment and
도전하는
new
기업입니다.
changes to our
저희는
customers.
앞서 말씀드린 것처럼 저희
As I
회사에
said
미션이
before,
있어요.
we have a
화장품을 통해 새로운
mission,
변화를
and
즐기는
that is
사람에게
we exist
자신감과
to provide
즐거움을
confidence and
제공하기
joy
위해
to those who
존재한다.
enjoy new
이
changes
미션으로
through
저희 회사는
cosmetics.
매년
And based on
혁신과
this mission,
또
CLIO
도전을
continues
거듭하고
to
있습니다.
innovate every year and take on new challenges.
클리오 브랜드 죄송합니다. 앞에 한번 넘어갈게요. 클리오 브랜드는 각각의 캐릭터와 굉장히 개성이
CLIO
좀 강해요.
has
그래서
brands
저희
with their
브랜드들은
own strong
앞서
personality
이렇게
and uniqueness.
도시적이고 또 힙함과
So we have
또,
brands that
시크함을
deliver
얘기하는 클리오부터
urban
시작해서
chic,
페리페라,
CLIO,
또 그 외 브랜드까지
and then we
다양한
also have
브랜드들을
Para as
좀
well
소유하고
as other
있습니다. 뿐만 아니라
various
클리오는
brands.
각각의 브랜드의 캐릭터와
And
개성이
once
굉장히
again,
강하죠.
CLIO
그래서 이
appeals to
브랜드로
customers through
소비자에게
brands with their
어떻게
own
어필을
personality
하냐면
and
이제
uniqueness.
굉장히 SNS에서
So
활발하게 얘기를 해서
we
언니 같은
communicate
브랜드,
actively,
또는 동생 같은
actively
브랜드로
with
되게
consumers on social
커뮤니케이션하고
media,
소통하고
and we're kind of
앞장서고
like
있습니다.
younger sisters or big sister to
뿐만
these
아니라 사실
consumers. We're very
CSR이라고 넣었는데요.
friendly.
저희 회사 본사가 서울에
And
있습니다.
our
그러다
headquarters
보니까
is
성동구와 함께
situated
벽화
in
그리기라든가
Seoul,
아니면
so we
착한
were
기업이 되기
involved
위한
in drawing
보이지
murals
않는
with
또는 보이는 작은
Seongdong-gu,
실천들을
and
실행하고
we've also
있습니다.
done
뿐만
some
아니라
design
얼마 전에는
consulting
사회적 기업들을
to
선정해서
these
디자인
social
컨설팅을 무료로 저희가
enterprises.
하고
So
또
we've
사회적
been
가치를
doing many
환원하는데
of
끊임없이
these
노력을 하고 있습니다.
activities to give back to society what
그렇다면
we
클리오
received.
기업 안에서 디자인 센터는
Now,
어떤
within
일들을
CLIO,
할까
what does
잠깐만
the
얘기를
design
좀 드리고
center
가고
do?
싶었어요.
I'd like to elaborate
매
that very
회사가 그렇듯이
briefly.
매년
So just
큰
like other
목표를 세웁니다.
companies,
회사가
every
가야 할
year
비전과
we
목표.
set up a
근데
design
이제
vision and
저희는 그 회사의
philosophy.
목표를 딱 듣고 나서 뭐를
And
하냐면요.
after
디자인
about hearing
랭귀지로
about the
디자인
company
센터는
vision and
그럼 그
philosophy,
랭귀지와 맞춰서
the
어떤
design
비전을 실천할까에
center
대한
had to
회사와
set up some
목표가
visions of its own that is
동일하게
aligned
온라인되지만
with the company's
디자인만이 할
visions
수
and
있는 비전을
goal.
만들고
And
회사와
design
함께
center
목표를
also sets
동행합니다.
up its separate mission statement that will
2018년에는
help the company achieve the goal. And those are in 2018, good to great, 2019, focus on the core, 2020, more than design, and 2020, last
일단
fit design.
2018년 뿐만 아니라 19년에 저가 포커스 온
So,
코어를 왜
focus on the
만들었냐면요.
core in
저희
2019 was
디자이너들이 이제
made
일을 하다 보면
because while
컨셉을
working,
만들고
our
앞선을
designers
잘
make
잡아가고
basic
디자인까지 풀어나가는 과정이
concept,
있어요.
and
근데
we create that
저희는
concept,
이제 굉장히
we build
스피디한
on that
회사입니다.
concept to
그러다
create some
보니까
design.
코어를
And
중심으로
so,
우리가 하고
based on the
고객한테
core,
무엇을
by
어필하고
focusing on
싶은지
the core,
코어를
we need to
만들고
really think about what we
역으로
want to
브랜딩으로 더
appeal
쌓아가는
to the
이런 일들을
consumers,
한번
and that will
시작해보자라고 한 게
be
포커스
the
온
foundation of our
코어였고요.
branding.
물론 일의 방식이 앞뒤가 바뀌긴 했으나
So this
디자이너들의
might
스피드는
actually
굉장히
switch
빨라졌고
front
생각의
to
전환이 좀
back,
달라지는
but
케이스가
it
됐습니다.
actually helped us come up with
2020년
new
모두 다
ideas for
아시다시피
design in
코로나로 모든
2020.
산업계는 좀 힘들었습니다.
The industry faced a
저희가
challenge due to
디자인이 어떻게
COVID-19.
하면 비즈니스에 조금
And
더
we thought of
기여를
how
할 수 있을까
design
고민을
can
했고요.
contribute more
가장 저희
to
조직내에서
business.
힘든 거는 사실 공간을 하는
And
리테일 쪽이었어요.
retail
오프라인이 다 없어지고
actually
디지털로 전환되고.
faced the most
그래서
challenge
오프라인을 하던
in
모든
CLIO.
친구들이
So
온라인의
people
업무를 조금
who
맡게
were doing
됐는데
offline
제가
work
그때 이런 말을 했죠.
shifted to the online
우리가 오프라인에서 제품을
department.
돋보이게 하는 게 VM의
And
역할이잖아.
you know, the
그렇다면
role of
온라인에서
VMD is to make
돋보이게 하는
sure
것이
that
또다시
the
VM의
products
역할일
are
거야.
become
그럼 우리는
outstanding
그걸
in the
디자인에서
online
소화해보자.
area, and we wanted to
그때 마음을
realize that through
그랬어요.
design.
되게 우울하고
So we
다들
said that
굉장히
that was a time
불편한
when
이
everyone
시대에
was
디자이너들이
depressed,
모든
when everything was
디자인으로
inconvenient.
비즈니스에 기여를
And what
하고
we
또
wanted to
디자이너로서
do was to
고객들한테 기쁨을
realize,
줘보자라는
quote unquote,
코어였습니다.
more than
이렇듯 매년
design,
디자인
so
센터만의
as to
목표를
make sure that
수립하고
design
그 미션을 향해
contributes to the
디자인
business
전략을
even more than
수립하였습니다.
it did before. So that was our mission in
2022년
2020.
저희는
And
가치의
in
중심을 더하다라는
2022,
비전을 정했고
our
또
vision
작게는
is
친환경
adding
소재 연구 또
core
크게는
to
소비자와
values.
사회가 같이 할 수
We
있는
want
디자인
to
전략을
come up with
만들었습니다.
And we did come up with design strategies that will concentrate on studying eco-friendly materials design that can add value to consumers and society. You know that consumer perception has changed. Younger consumers are environmentally conscious. They look at ingredients and containers and they participate in social value campaigns and so on. Now, these people are those who go onto coffee shops and talk to their friends and express themselves, but because of COVID, they weren't able to do this. We had to find a way, due to these viruses like COVID and SARS, and everyone was depressed. So
그래야 내가
We wanted to
편해라는
make the earth
인식들이 더 생겼던 것
healthier.
같습니다.
That's the
그래서
perception
이러한
of the younger
인식들은
consumers,
컬처
and
트렌드가
these
되었고,
perceptions
저희는
have
이제
become a social
디자인
trend.
또 가치를
So we wanted to
여기에
incorporate that
더해서
social trend into
아름다움을
design.
갖고 싶은데
And
뭔가 가치 있는 걸 사기
sometimes
위해서 아름다움을
consumers
살짝
gave
포기해야 돼가
up
아니라
beauty
나도
for
모르게 너무 갖고
value.
싶은 걸 샀는데
But we wanted to set up
나도
a
모르게
design strategy to
친환경과 가치를
provide
실현하고
value and
있네라는
beauty
제품들을
at the
만들 수
same time
없을까라는
to
것에 대한 디자인
customers.
전략을
So that
수립하고
was our design
실행하였습니다.
strategy.
잠깐만 말씀드리면 이제 모두 다 알다시피
So as you know,
친환경은 모든
eco-friendliness
사회적으로
or
뷰티 업계뿐만 아니라
ESG
산업계에서 필수가
has
되었습니다.
become the
여러
trend in
분야에서
all
다양한 방식으로
industries.
실천과 실행을 하고 있죠.
And industries are
소비는 소재적
practicing this in
측면,
various
레스
ways in terms of
또는 문화적, 사회적
ingredients
측면으로
and
활용을
less
하고 있는데요.
and being
뒤에서 이미지를
culturally
보면서
centered.
간단히만
And so I'm
설명드릴게요.
going to talk about
친환경
ingredients or
소재,
materials
이미 우리한테는
in my
과제고
presentation.
숙제입니다.
Now,
그래서 이제 뭐
eco-friendly
앞서
materials are
종이
a
튜브라든지
big
PCR 소재,
task
뭐 다양한
for us in the
소재와
beauty
방식으로
industry.
표현을 하고 제품에 구현을
So,
하고
you know,
있어요.
we've done a lot
이제
of research and
뭔가
applications on
이런
papers,
지구 살리기,
PCR, and
플라스틱 대체
so on.
연구,
So,
이런 것들은
saving the
아마
earth,
우리한테
you know,
소재 연구로
using
지속적인
less
과제가 되지
plastics.
않을까
Those
싶습니다.
are something that we
뿐만
must
아니라 이제
focus on
레스,
going forward.
모두
And the
아시다시피
concept
사실은
or the trend of less is also all the
환경에 저해되는
rage.
걸 안 쓰는 게 제일
So,
친환경이라고 저는
using
생각합니다.
less is
그래서
being
이제 모두들
eco-friendly,
그걸
I believe.
인식하고
And everyone is
걸어내자라고
aware of that.
해서
So people want to use
레스라는
less
활동들을
now
되게
for the
많이
sake
하고
of the
있어요.
earth.
레스 플라스틱,
Less
뭐
plastic,
레스
less
웨이스트, 뭐
waste.
리필 스테이션,
Refill
되게 많은
stations. Those are
것들을
some of the keywords I
없애기
can
위한 행보들을
mention.
하고 있습니다.
So we're trying to
다방면으로 굉장히 많은 노력을
make
하고 있고요.
everything less in a diverse range of
또
ways.
상품을 넘어서
And now we
이제는
want to
환경을
go
이롭게
beyond
하고
products to
또
benefit
지역사회와
the environment
행복을 같이 하며
and the
상생하는
community.
것이 저희한테는 좋다. 그리고 그것들이 더
And
ESG 측면으로 나아가는데 더 도움이
Those are
된다라고
very
인식이
helpful in
변화됐고
achieving
상생하고
ESG.
기부하면서
We
풍요로운
want
활동으로 실천을 하고
to,
있습니다.
so we've been doing a
앞서
lot of
말씀드린
donation
것처럼 이제
activities
저희는 이제
and
클리오는
various other
성동구와
activities,
지금 굉장히
both culturally and
발맞춰서
socially. So together with
이런 ESG적
성동구,
측면을 많이 하고
we are
있어요.
providing
그래서
a
앞에
lot
잠깐
of
말씀드렸지만 성동구에서 디자인
activities,
회사
for
또는
example,
뷰-
design
여러
consultation to
산업군의
social
회사들의
enterprises and many
디자인
other
역이 안
ESG
되거나
related
디자인이 없어서 못하거나
activities.
돈이 없어서 외주를
So,
못 주는
for example,
그런
there could be
회사들을 되게
small
많이
companies who do
선정했고
not
저희가 세계 회사를
have
선정을
enough
했습니다.
capacity
세계 회사를
to
저희 디자인
conduct
센터에서는
eco-friendly
무료
activities,
디자인
and we
컨설팅을
provided
해서
free
상품
design
개발
consulting
완료될 때까지
services
저희
up
팀장뿐만 아니라
until
저희
the
모두가
stage
아이디네이션을
where
내서
they would
상품
complete
개발의
their product
아이덴티티를
design.
올려주는 작업을
So we really
해서
help
재능
these
기부를 하고
SMEs
있습니다.
to concretize their design
이렇듯
identity.
이제 많은 고민을 하시는 것들에 맞춰서 저희도 많은 생각과 활동을 하고
So,
있는데
as I said
사실
before,
이제
we've been
친환경은
practicing
그
eco-friendliness
다음이
in
뭘까?
various ways.
대한
But
고민이
what's
되더라고요.
next?
뭐
What comes
소재는 계속 연구가
after
될 거고,
eco-friendliness
또
or
여러 가지들을 많이 할
ESG?
거 하겠지만
I mean, yes,
우리가
materials are
이런
important,
친환경들을 고객들한테
but
뭐 실생활에 자연스럽게 밀접시키고
how
또
can we
친환경이
connect
점점점
eco-friendliness
확대되는
to the
인식을
general
변화시키는
lifestyle of
이런
the people, and
친환경은
how can we
무엇일까에
change
대한
their
고민을
perception
많이
of
하게 됐습니다.
eco-friendliness in a natural manner?
그래서 저희는
So what we
저희
decided
회사가
to do
가장
is to
잘하는
take what we do
마케팅과
best,
디자인을
marketing and
친환경에
design,
접목하려
and
합니다.
incorporate them into
약점을 강점으로
eco-friendliness or
또 무거운
ESG.
친환경을
So
또 고객들이
we
즐기면서
wanted
같이 소비를 할
customers
수
to
있도록
enjoy the
친환경에
seriousness
유니크한 컨셉을
of
더하려 합니다.
eco-friendliness by
여러분 그 말
adding
아세요?
uniqueness
넘어설
to
수
this
없으면
concept. You know,
즐기게
there's a
해주라는
saying,
말이
if you can't
있습니다.
avoid it, enjoy it.
친환경
Eco-friendliness
사실상
actually has
도입이
many
어렵습니다.
restrictions
원가가
to
높고요.
practice, the
또
cost is
실질적으로
high,
용기에다가
and
인쇄 하나만 넣어도 친환경이 아니에요.
you know, if you just print
그렇다면
something on the
우리가
package, that's
이제
not
갖고 있는
eco-friendly.
단점과 약점이
So
많단
we have
말이죠.
many
근데
weaknesses.
저는 이런 약점을
The beauty
강점으로
industry has many
소화시켜야 된다고
weaknesses,
생각했고,
but
또
changing these
그렇게
weaknesses into
강점으로
strength
할수
is the
있는
key.
것이 디자인의 힘이라고
And it's the power of
생각합니다.
design that precisely allows us to do so.
그래서 이제 클리오는 저희 회사에는 9개 브랜드가
So
있다고
CLIO,
앞서 마케팅
as I said
부장님이
before,
얘기를 해주셨는데
And as someone
그
else
9개
from
브랜드가
CLIO
어느
said
하나
before,
겹치는 성격이
we
없어요.
have 9
각기
brands,
캐릭터가 다른
and
브랜드를
each brand
가지고
has its
있고,
own
이
unique
브랜드들의
character and
각각 가지고 있는
personality.
캐릭터에
So
친환경이라는
we
컨셉을 한번
combined
넣어보자.
the unique
그래서
character of each
MZ들이
brand with the
열광하고
concept
또
of
좋아하는
eco-friendliness.
페리페라라는
So,
브랜드는
for
굉장히
example,
유쾌하게
we
즐겁게 친환경을 접목시키고
incorporated
힙함과
eco-friendliness into
트렌드를
characters of
얘기하는
brands like
브랜드는
Peripera.
단순함이
And also, we introduced the concept of less is cool to hip and trendy brands like CLIO. So we allowed customers to experience value through these projects, and we wanted eco-friendliness to be easy and friendly. So we incorporated that fun aspect into the design of these brands. That's the mission and goal that any design ought to have. So these concepts naturally incorporated into our brands and products. Now, we added pleasantness or fun aspects to eco-friendliness. You know, the so-called millennials and Gen Zs, they really love this concept of being easy and witty when it comes to eco-friendliness. So our designers came up with new ideas every morning. What about this? What about that? So by sharing our ideas, you know, we built them up, we accumulated them, and hence this product. Now, I talked about the concept less, and for the first time, we wanted to introduce digital goods, digital merchandises in the campaign. So, you know, when you buy cosmetics products, you sometimes get these merchandises for free, and you know, you feel good when you receive them, but that actually goes counter to eco-friendliness. So what we wanted to do is to provide them with digital merchandises that will allow them to decorate their iPad, for example, iPad screen, or decorate their digital calendar. So these merchandises can be downloaded once you make a purchase of a product. And as I said before, no matter how eco-friendly the material of a package may be, if you print something on the package, it's not eco-friendly anymore. So we thought hard how we can change this around. So when we collaborated with a certain brand, we made everything into stickers so that people can actually put those stickers on the packages. And we uploaded these products with the stickers attached on them to our social media services to encourage them to use these stickers. So instead of printing stuff out on the containers, we provided customers with stickers to attach to the to stick onto the containers themselves. And as I said before, the MZ generations really put value on how they can express their own unique individuality. So by collaborating with Otugi, we gave them what we call a donation card. So by, you know, putting posts of this donation card on their social media accounts, you know, these young people were able to prove that they actually contribute to eco-friendliness and society. And also when introducing vegan products, you know, we felt that people who are interested in vegan products would naturally love animals. So we actually added some fun to this concept. So we will combine the symbol of a heart with a cat to create a heart cat, as you can see on the screen. And we kept putting related posts up on social media to encourage our customers to be part of this campaign. And when it comes to eco-friendliness, no, packaging, yes, packaging is one part, but ingredients another part. And you know, before a long time, we've done many efforts to add natural ingredients like green tea powder into the ingredient or the substance themselves. But for the first time, we've added these new eco-friendly materials like mixed wood powder to our makeup palette for the first time in the industry. And once again, this needs to be fun. So we've added all these icons or emoticons, as you can see on the screen, into the palette container. And once again, we adopted the concept of less is cool to our brands, manifesting urban chic and hip. So we could have shown them through various graphics, but we actually showed that through shapes of our containers.
그 쿨함을
And we
우리는
use simple
이런
materials
브랜드에서 이야기할 수
to
있는
convey
쿨함을
that
되게
concept,
다른
less
방식으로
is
다시
cool.
승화해서 보여주려고 노력을 했고요. 지속 가능 마크도 개발하면서
And we also
브랜드의
developed
인식을 또
a
확보하는 데
symbol for
노력을 했습니다. 뿐만
sustainability.
아니라 저희 회사 또 이
And
브랜드는 UNGRP라는
This brand
등급을
actually
취득하여
obtained the highest
또 한 발짝씩
UNGRP
앞서 나가는 데
grade.
기여하였습니다.
So we're actually really
브랜드는
leading the industry in terms of realizing
친환경 실천
eco-friendliness.
리딩하는 데 사회적 가치에
So
같이 동참하고
CLIO will
연구하고
continue
또 개발하려고
to
합니다.
conduct R&D activities related to realizing eco-friendliness. Now, there's also a good all, which stands for good for all. And we sought to make the earth better from collaborating with social enterprise brands to improving our ingredients and packaging materials. So good all
라는 완료형이 아닙니다. 진행형입니다.
continues to make efforts to this end. We don't claim that we have already completed our eco-friendliness activities, but we emphasize that our efforts for eco-friendliness is always ongoing. Now finally, our brand Dermatory adopted the concept of kindness for eco. So now we created a poster.
불조심 이러면은 뭐 초등학교 때부터
So you
불조심 이런
know
포스터만
that
얘기하고
older generations like us used to make all kinds of posters in elementary school that would say, watch out for fire, for example. And I really realized that the messages on these posters actually really seep into you and you become conscious of them and aware of them without realizing it. So we decided to create poster designing the campaign in a single box. And those will be uploaded on our social media accounts as well as the accounts of our consumers to really deliver the message that are part of this eco-friendly campaign. And these boxes are not thrown away, but they can be upcycled into being used as pencil cases, or when they're spread apart, they could become this like game board that they can play games with.
이런 걸로도 디벨롭 시키고 그러더라고요.
So,
그래서 저희도 그냥 버려지는 포장재가 아니라 조금 더
instead
2차,
of
3차까지
having
고객들 손에 남아서
these
조금 다른
boxes
거를
becoming
대용할 수 있게
waste
만든다면
right
그것이
away,
친환경일 수 있다.
if they can be
했습니다.
upcycled by our
그리고
consumers in
마지막으로
various ways, we thought that was true
실천하고 싶어도 잘
eco-friendliness.
실천하지 못하는,
And
또는
for those who
제대로
want to
버리지
recycle but don't
못하는
know how to
우리
do
뷰티
it properly,
소비자들을 위해서
we actually
분리 배출 가이드를 좀 만들었습니다.
created a
물
guideline
같은
on
경우는 TV
recycling.
광고도 하잖아요. 뭐.
So you know that there's a
버린다,
TV
뭐 한다,
ad on saving
나를
water,
뗀다는
right?
얘기처럼 캠페인을
And
하듯이
how to
화장품은
throw out
사실은 여러 가지
these
소재들이 좀
PET
복합되어
bottles
있는
that
데들이
contain
많아요.
water.
어떻게 분리하고
So and
어떻게
these
떼서
TV
어떻게 해야
advertisements
내가
actually
착한
show
행동을
you
동참하는
how
거지?
you can recycle
이것들을
these
조금 저희가 나서서
PET bottles in the
설명을
right
해주고
way,
싶었고요.
and we want to
그런
incorporate
것들을
that
계속
idea
캠페인으로
into
알리는
our
작업을 했습니다. 네.
containers and
저는 오늘 무슨
product
얘기를 하고
boxes.
싶었냐면
So that was
저는
part of our
소재와
campaign.
또는
So
연구를 하는
I hope
원물을
you
개발하는
found
사람은
this
아닙니다.
presentation
하지만
interesting. Now,
저희 회사는
I
마케팅과
don't engage in
디자인에서
R&D
유쾌한
activities on
친환경,
ingredients.
쿨한
I'm a design
친절한
person.
친환경,
And
이러한
we want to,
컨셉들을
through
브랜드의
design,
맥락과 같게 만들어줘서
introduce fun
소비자에게
eco, cool eco,
즐거움과
kind
자신감을
eco to the
선사하도록
customers to
만들려고
provide
했고, 저는 이것이
the context of
마케팅과 디자인의
pleasure,
힘이라고
enjoyment
생각합니다.
to
저희
consumers.
클리오는 여기서
So
멈추지
CLIO
않고
will not
있습니다.
stop
앞으로도
here.
지속적으로
Going forward, we will
디자인과 마케팅
continuously
끊임없이 고민하고 노력해서
make
소비자들 손에 가치와
efforts in
즐거움을
terms of design and
제공하는데
marketing
끊임없이
so as to
고민하고
provide value and joy
노력하도록
to our
하겠습니다.
customers.
지금까지 강의를
Thank you so
강연을
much for
들어주셔서
listening to my
감사합니다.
presentation.
네, 여러분 클리오의
Thank you. That was
박혜준
Ms. Park
대표였습니다.
Hae-jun from CLIO's
사회적
Design
가치와
Center.
심리적 가치를
Social
고객에게
value and
경험의
psychological
가치로
value
제공한다는
is
말씀
delivered
잘 들었습니다.
through
유쾌한
customer
환경,
experience
친환경이라는 단어도 참
in
인상적이었는데요.
CLIO. So
그동안
that was a
가치
very
있는 걸
wonderful
위해서는
presentation.
아름다움을 조금은
And
포기해야 됐었습니다.
sometimes we
그런데
had to
이제는
give up
가치 있는
beauty
걸
in order
충분히
to
하면서도
realize
아름다움까지
value,
충족할
but
수 있는
now
그런
we
브랜드
can
마케팅을
enjoy beauty and
실천하고
value
있는 것
at the
아닌가라는
same
생각이
time thanks
들었습니다.
to CLIO's
이제
design and marketing
3부의
efforts.
마지막이자 뷰티 트렌드
Now we will
인사이트의
invite
마지막
the last
발표자를
presenter
소개를
of
해야 할
part
시간이
3
왔습니다.
of
한국
the
콜마르
Beauty
팩티지
Insight
스튜디오의
session. I would
김형상
like to
상무님인데요.
invite
네.
Kim Hyung-sang of
엄청나네요.
Kolmar Korea.
김영상 상무님 교수님께서는 화장품 포장재
who
친환경
will talk
트렌드라는
about
주제로
sustainable
화장품 업계와
packaging
포장재
trends
생산
for
회사가
cosmetics
어떤
brands.
노력을 하고 있는지
And
발표를
he will talk about
해주시겠습니다.
what Kolmar
그러면
Korea
박수로
is doing
발표 청해 듣도록
to
하겠습니다.
that end. Please give him a big hand. Good afternoon. As introduced, my name is EunGyung from Kolmar Korea. It's a pleasure to meet you all.
저는 오늘 이 자리에
Today,
앞에서 두 연사분께서
I just heard from the previous two speakers, and I think I will just echo what they two said.
클리오에서 이렇게 많은 노력을
And
하고
Ms. Park talked about what CLIO was doing, and I was quite impressed of their work. And what we are doing, the tasks that we are completing, and the efforts that we are taking will be what I will present today during my presentation. So this is the table of contents. I will talk about the eco-friendly trends of the local and global packaging, and I will talk about the guideline that Kolmar Korea is pursuing. I will also talk about sustainable packaging certifications and sustainable packaging trends.
여기 계신 분들 다 느끼듯이
Well, by looking at this slide, I'm sure that you feel a sense of responsibility because of climate change and the erratic weather and so on and so forth. We do feel a very weight on our shoulders. And well, compared to the industrial level, the temperature only rose by 2%. However, we do see many climate catastrophes, and we are seeing many challenges. So as a result, the government has unveiled a number of policies and initiatives, which includes recycling plastic and reducing plastic by 2050, and increasing recycling by 2025, and also switching to recyclable bioplastics by 2050. So the Korean government is pushing a transition to a plastic-free society and discouraging the use of single-use containers or cups. But it feels like we are behind by 20 years. So the government is really rushing to achieve net zero, and that has led to many confusions over the policies. Well, when it comes to the laws on waste, and well, actually, we're not fully aligned, especially the exporters and the companies do not know which regulations to follow. And of course, we also need to be sure about how to recycle and how to dispose each product and empty containers. But that's not always an easy task. So the act on cosmetics should be made more accessible and approachable for the consumers. And we have many people from this industry today present, but I know that the containers of cosmetics goods are not easy to recycle, and it's not easy to discard, and so on and so forth. And 63% of a survey respondent said that the cosmetics bottles and containers were not easy to remove labels or to recycle. So now Unilever, P&G, L'Oreal, and Ameri Pacific have set goals to achieve by 2030, and they are very much aligned to the government's policies. And Europe is taking the lead, and Korea is now following Europe's steps. We do export the most to Europe, so we are now following what the European countries are doing. We are now a B2B company. We have about 700 member companies. So we have set our own set of guidelines and regulations to help out the members. We follow a 3R policy. So first and foremost, reduce, And number 2, replace and increase the use of recycled resin or PCR resin materials. And number 3, the third pillar is recycle and promote the use of mono material. So it will be difficult to replace all the products that are already in the market to become eco-friendly. So what we want to do is to learn from various use cases for the consumers to find out and learn more about how they can act. Now I will briefly talk about the 3R. First, reduce.
저희가 이제 페이퍼 튜브라고 개발을
We have developed a new material called paper tube. I'm sure that you have received a leaflet,
저희 화장품 포기 내용물 중에서
and
이렇게 포장
it's a tube made
굉장히 한계가
of paper.
저희가 화장품 포장재 중에서 제일 많이 사용하는 포장재는
And
폐물이기 때문에
while tubes are the most commonly used type of containers in the cosmetics sector, so we wanted to reduce waste here. So the development phase took about 3 years, and we came up with a paper tube. And we also created a paper shadow
플라스틱
product.
여러분들 많이
And I'm sure that you are well familiar with cushion product, and this uses about 6 to 7 pieces, but we reduced that to 3 to 4. And many customers also want
예전에 리필이 굉장히
containers that they can refill. So we are working on that end as well. And be it eye creams or pads or and so on and so forth, we also use refillable bottles. And next, replace. So we want to replace to post-consumer recycled, so PCR materials.
사용을 하고 있는데
And for now, PCR is used 30%, 50%, and more, depending on the type of the product. But for now,
재활용 중이라고 알고 계시지만
what we are doing, I'm sure that you are familiar with recycled paper,
인쇄를 하시는 분들도 되게 많아요.
but there are many people
종이를 재사용을 30% 이상 한 종이를 만들어서
who want to use products that can be recycled as paper. So what we do is we are using recycled paper to our products up to 30%. And monomaterials are usually used
이렇게 해서 조금 제품을
in egg containers, but now we have applied this material to paper tray and pulp tray and so on. Now we have many people from the cosmetics industry here,
분들도 계시기 때문에
but some are not from this industry. So allow me to go over the definition of the packages. We have primary and secondary packages. And
여기 자세히
the primary packaging would be the containers and bottles that contain the cosmetics, and the secondary packaging would be the packages that actually contain the primary containers.
수분리 라벨
And what we're working on are refillable containers and monomaterials as well as water separation labels. And this is a concept that is not new to us, but it may be new to you. So I will walk you through what water separation labels are. And I will also talk about some of the primary caps and pumps that are that can be recycled, and also talk about some forest fiber packaging, and talk about some set box as well.
앞에서 말씀드렸지만 이 종이 튜브에 대해서
Now, I briefly told you about the paper tube that we developed,
저희가 1년에
and when we
저희 회사에 거쳐서
planned to develop this, we actually produce about 40 million tubes a year. And by reducing 1 gram per tube would contribute significantly to reducing waste. But at first, we were not sure whether this would be durable enough, whether it could contain the cosmetics well enough and contain moisture without getting soggy. But then after development, this actually received many awards, one from the Ministry of the Industry, and also it received many design awards on the global stage. So that really motivated us to further develop this idea. And we are developing more paper tubes in our company, which will be released about next year. Now, the second development, well, this was designed to reduce plastic. While the previous cushion products used about 6 to 7 plastic pieces, but we reduced that number to 4 pieces while making sure that the cushion foundation container is still very solid for people to use. So by adding technology and by working hard, we can make this possible. And of course, there are some things that consumers feel it right away in an intuitive manner, but even if they do not feel the change, we should make the difference to go eco-friendly. Now, we also use some makeup products that use paper, and these are quite intuitive for customers to feel and use. Next, we also came up with some refill containers. We have many companies that are now developing refill containers as well. So this is a rising trend. Now I would like to briefly talk about PCR, which stands for post-consumer recycled. Many different materials are used for containers, and we wanted to boost the recyclability of the containers. If you look at the right bottom image, the one on the left is 100% virgin material. The one on the right is 100% PCR container, and you can tell the difference between the two, and there is a slight gap in quality. However, the PCR container is also getting better in terms of quality, so we expect this to be used more widely going forward. And I talked about the recycling and separating and discarding law, and that actually makes it very difficult for people to recycle and discard waste. That is why we want to come up with a monomaterial so that the product is composed of a single material. Now, this is an eco-friendly all-plastic dispensing pump, and this is used, and it also is metal-free. Next, I would like to briefly talk about water separation label. So the labels melt at 80 degrees Celsius, so you can easily detach the label, and you can peel off the label quite easily, which is a great advantage. Now this is a shrink sleeve with perforated tear line, which makes it easy for people to tear the labels. Now next is FSC paper. And FSC certified paper is paper that has been harvested in a responsible manner. And having an FSC label can send a message that the company is working very hard to be eco-friendly. Now this is FSC certified paper with 30% PIW, so recycled paper is used up to 30%. And And this was a first
이거는 아까 말씀드렸듯이
here in Korea, and Kolmar Korea made that happen.
새로운 아이디어
Now we are
지금 계속 나오고
replacing the plastic trays into paper and making sturdy structures by folding the paper
약간 품질이 안 좋고 냄새가 나.
to serve as containers.
이거는 따로 별도의 공정을 두고
Now this is a pulp molding dies, which is usually used for egg trays. And we can actually use this for secondary and tertiary packaging. So this is quite beneficial. Now there are many certifications in the market, including ISCC, ROHS, and Vegan, and FSC, and SOE Inc. And consumers can easily check the marks on the labels. So I ask you to please take a look at the boxes or containers before purchasing your products. Now, I would like to briefly talk about what the Korea Environment Corporation is doing in terms of materials and structure evaluation system for packaging materials. And it is a system designed to encourage the producer's improvement of packaging materials. Now I will skip through the next slides. I will give you some of the examples that we have produced so far. Now, Tusong Paper has come up with a paper that mixes some dust to make it to make it easy for consumers to recycle the product. Now, the next one is HDC case, which is a cellulose film packaging, which provides many environmental benefits as the product is sourced from bio-based renewable resources. And it does have some flavor in it, but we're working to remove that as well. Now this is body wash from Plus, and it's a water soluble packaging.
노력은 하고 있지만 아직까지는 완벽하지는 잘 못해요.
And this type of packaging can dissolve in hot water. Now next, let us move to the next case. This is an example of shampoo bars from Donggubat and Do Mighty. And this is soap bottle, as well as solid type soaps.
아로마티카라든지 이런 데서는 어떻게 보면
And companies like Amori Pacific and Aromatica are working
이 회사 제품은
to become more eco-friendly, and to that end, they have opened refill and zero stations.
그 안에 또 수가공을 해야 되고
Now, before, even inside a piece of plastic, we needed to include different types of pieces of materials to make a lipstick. However, now consumers, now companies are working to develop monomaterial containers. Now this is a TerraCycle loop that recycle the delivery containers, and this is a YSL's refill containers. Now this is Yeonu that use paper for their containers. Moving on to the next case. This is a paper bottle concept that Coca-Cola is pursuing. And the next one was Pulpex, that uses pulp material. Next, that was a recycled paperboard packaging, followed by aluminum cans. And Inner Bottle and Hyun are some of the companies that are making containers that are shrinkable.
수리경에 만든 축지식으로 만든 립스틱인데
Now these are stick type lipsticks
용기를 립밤 형태로 만든
by Axiology, and at the bottom you see some cases of soap and stick balms from Samcraft. And the next one was an example from Refilly that recycles toilet paper, that can recycle the containers as toilet paper.
오늘 여기까지인데
So that would be all for me. And what I wanted to tell you today is this. Of course, every single company is working very hard to become more sustainable and eco-friendly, but some are hesitant. But we should not be hesitant. We need to reduce the parts that we use in the containers. We need to reduce some of the materials that we use and go eco-friendly to change the world and to be able to save the planet. And that is our belief. And I would like to ask you to join us on our journey so that we can save the planet. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Kim, for the presentation.
ESG 노력을 다양한 사례와 함께
You talked about the ESG practices of different companies and talked about what Kolmar Korea is doing. And yes, we do use too much plastic, and the beauty industry is not an exception. And we were able to find out what the cosmetics brands are doing to reduce plastic. And please join Kolmar Korea's journey to reducing plastic.
벌써 마무리할 시작.
Now it's time for us to conclude Beauty Trend Insight. The 2022 Seoul Beauty Week has been prepared to achieve the goal of global beauty industry hub Seoul, for Seoul to actually become a hub of beauty fashion design and industry. And in Beauty Week Insight, we heard leading companies in the industry share their know-hows and insights to help K-beauty business startups and SMEs. So we will see you at the next Seoul Beauty Week in 2023, and we'd like to conclude the event here today. Tomorrow, we will be able to see all of you participate in the meetup that will start at 10 a.m. So please look forward to that. And that concludes the Beauty Trend Insight. We'd like to thank all the companies for sharing your know-hows and insights. Once again, my name is EunGyung. Thank you for attending this conference.